station, live from the Comcast Business Studios. 97.5, The Fanatic. John Kincade, Andrew Salciunas. This is Kincade and Salciunas. 97.5, The Fanatic, and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Wow, 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 wow. They don't always have to be pretty. Short week, division battle. You come out on top and you stay on top of the NFC East. That's more like it. It's Kincade and Salciunas on a Victory Friday, Johnny. 97.5, The Fanatic.
This is Kincade and Salciunas. Last night, the Eagles beat the Washington Commanders at Lincoln Financial Field to earn their 6th straight victory and stay on top of the NFC East. Now they have a mini bye to rest and get ready to head to Los Angeles to face the Rams. November 24th on Sunday Night Football. Kincade and Salciunas. John Kincade, Andrew Salciunas.
97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
And a good Victory Friday morning, Philadelphia. I'm Andrew Salciunas alongside my man, John Kincade. Johnny Red Bull this morning. What's up, Johnny?
Also known as the original Exciting Whites. Andrew and John.
Nobody's ever said that about us.
I am so, I don't know, I'm so excited because of football season that sets up now to be an incredible finish. You're in a beautiful platform for where you're at. A great night at the stadium. Andrew, it is a great day to be awake.
Dude,
and the Red Bull definitely helps.
I'm sure the Red Bull does help.
But I do not, I got like 3 hours sleep.
Yeah.
So, but I managed to get into the house without waking the dog up or the wife
Wow,
up.
that's big.
Into the sleep number. So no, the bed doesn't move, so she doesn't get moved on her side. I got in and out last night and this morning.
That's
so
good work by you.
That's good.
Eagles beat the Commanders last night, 26-18. There's a lot to unpack from the game, but look, the Eagles are 8-2. The Eagles have won 6 straight games following the Week 5 bye that all of us, when the schedule first came out, looked at and said,
hated.
Man, I wish it was later on in the season. I wish it was in November, early December, early November, whatever. But, man, that bye week for this team, and we are coming to find out it's true that it may have been one of the biggest things for this team. We read the article from Tim McManus yesterday. We talked about it a little bit more during the pregame show, but we saw it on the back end of our show yesterday. The in-depth conversation that took place between Jordan Mailata, Lane Johnson, and Landon Dickerson when they approached Nick Sirianni's office during the bye week and talked about wanting to change the offense, wanting to use the run to set up the pass, rely on the offensive line, rely on Saquon Barkley. Stop obsessing with chunk plays downfield, finding different ways to get chunk plays without it having to be 30 yards in the air for the chunk play to happen. And to Nick Sirianni's credit, which is what we said yesterday, he sat there, he listened, and he worked with it. One of the best things I read from that article was when Jordan Mailata said, we felt heard. And I think that's something that in any walk of life, no matter what job you do, feeling heard from your boss, from management, is a big deal. And when Nick Sirianni sat down and listened to his offensive players, it changed the direction of the offense. It has changed the direction of this team. They're 6-0 since the bye week. They're healthy for the first time all season, it feels like. And now they're just motoring, man, because that Commanders team, they're no joke. They're not there yet.
No, they're
not.
not.
They're no joke, and they're one of the better teams that you have faced this year. And you handled them. The score doesn't even do it justice because of the missed field goals by Jake Elliott.
I said to you before, Dan Quinn's done a great job there. And,
Absolutely.
And I sort of have a doctorate in Dan Quinn, watching him for many years, getting to know Dan a little bit, following his coaching philosophies and everything. And last night, I'd said to you before that I always thought the worst part of any work week for Dan Quinn was the 60 minutes that the clock were running. And last night in the fourth quarter, when he made the decision to not take the lead, I thought immediately game over. Yeah. Like in my head, I said game over. He had a young team, a young quarterback, a scrappy effort. Take the lead in the fourth quarter and then see what happens.
Yeah, put all the pressure on the Eagles at that point.
I have no idea what happened there other than the fact that Zack Bon makes he's freaking Batman.
I'm serious.
He's Batman.
When are we going to – obviously, we have to see the contract happen first.
Well –
when do we start seeing Bon jerseys around the city of Philadelphia?
Okay, now
I mean, there's so many great players on this team, but this dude is NFC Defensive Player of the Week last week, and he's been such a great story all year.
I believe they're already trying to approach.
I imagine that they are.
I don't know if someone's going to listen.
I told you. I said that to you last week.
And that's scary as hell.
You were saying, I remember last week, John, it was more of an off-air
Yes.
conversation. You were like, man, they got to get this done. They got to get this done. And I said to John, if I'm Zack Bon, I am waiting, baby.
The only thing is,
if I become Pro Bowl or second team All-Pro or something, whoop, 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 that's the value of my contract going up and up and up.
I don't know
and
what
up.
that sound is.
I don't
but
know
it's,
either. Listen, man, I got as little sleep as you did. All right?
Sounded like some Three Stooges sound effects in there.
It did.
I look at where this Eagles team is at 8-2, and last year they were 9-1. And I asked you the question before, and now I'll ask you again. You got another game in the bank. Do you feel better about this team at 8-2 than you did last year at 9-1?
After last night's win, yes.
Okay, so last night showed it to you because of the division.
It was the division. It was just how it looked, and we'll get into the quarterback in a little bit, but the defense was once again
Oh my gosh.
spectacular last night. And it goes back to what we were saying from the beginning of the season. No, none of us assumed that the defense was going to be a top 5 defense in the NFL, but we thought that they would be middle of the pack, which is literally, double from what last year. They were at the bottom of the NFL last year. We thought they'd be middle of the pack because of the upside of this team, because of the youth, and there's going to be some growing pains, but there's more talent. They're quicker, they're faster, and they have a better defensive coordinator. But, man, I saw what they did last night against that Commanders offense, which has been efficient this year.
It's been outstanding.
And then, of course, couple that with Saquon Barkley being a freaking maniac. Of course I feel better now than I did when you asked the question a couple weeks ago.
It's incredible the way that they're the way that they put this thing together, because it's as if they punch, they jab, and then the knockout comes. And Saquon Barkley is appearing to get stronger as games go along, which to me doesn't make sense with the amount of carries he's had, with the amount of his career. It's really, really good. He's on pace right now. He's going to be able to set career highs in everything. The only one that it looks like he probably won't get is career highs in receiving yards.
And look, fine.
Everything else,
whatever.
I mean, he has 8 touchdowns right now. Career highs 11, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
His career rushing high is 13-12. He's now within 190 yards of that.
You were obviously at the game yesterday in the press box, so I was watching the game at home, and Herbie started talking about the entire the hard knock situation,
Right.
and how the owner said, "Look, I'm going to lose sleep if he goes to the Eagles." And then Herbie continues and says, "The crazy thing is, it's not that they just lost their dynamic player to a division rival. He's having his best career year."
Yeah, because the Eagles are a far better organization than the Giants.
Yeah.
And he is a guy that just shows there are players who are great, who labor in mediocrity because of their organization.
Yeah.
Saquon Barkley is a incredible talent. And, man, Birds fans got to be really happy. They were happy last night.
I'm
I'll tell you
sure
that.
they were, man.
Energy was great.
You could hear it through the TV, not so much from the play-by-play guy. We'll get into that in a little bit as well. But through the crowd, it sounded raucous at Lincoln Financial Field. Our buddy Adam Schefter already up at 5:40 this morning. Eagles now lead the NFC East by a game and a half over Washington and have started 8-2 or better in 3 straight seasons for the first time in franchise history. What a time to be an Eagles fan.
Yeah, it is.
So I want to play something for you, because we will start with what Jaylen Hurts had to say after the game, which will then lead us into the question, because it's one thing for the player to say this, it's another thing for us as media members and fans to talk about it. Here's Jaylen Hurts after the game yesterday saying that they are taking it a day at a time.
What's your big picture perspective about where this team is 10 games into the season?
No big picture. Taking it one day at a time.
All right, I'm glad that he has that mentality. I don't, dude. We're talking NFC Championship game now, right? Like, there's no other discussion. Like, it has to be NFC Championship game.
I made sure that the staff had cleared out the seats because I've been waiting for people to pile on. I've been telling you this.
You have been.
All summer. So, like, there's plenty of seats. Don't worry about it, Connor. I got you a seat right next to where the heater comes up.
Oh, great.
So you're going to be fine. And there's beers in the fridge.
Oh,
in
then
the
I'm
back.
definitely there.
You're there.
You have any other things for me?
No, I don't have any other things. No,
Oh, damn.
no, nothing even medicinally.
All right, well, I don't like that stuff during the games anyway.
Yes.
All right, so we're talking NFC Championship game, if not further. Like, that has to be the conversation.
Yes.
If
Nothing
you're
less.
not having that conversation, then you are either, the prototypical Negadelphian, or you have hate in your heart, or there's just something that's completely scaring you. And again, we will talk about the quarterback, but I want to start with the Holly Jollies, because that is a game that you can't come in the morning after or go to bed last night like gripping your sheets. John always says, clutching your pearls, holding your pillow when you're trying to fall asleep because you're afraid of the boogeyman. I went to bed with a freaking smile on my face, and I could not wait to come in this morning on as little sleep as we get after nights like that, to come in here and talk about this team and how they do look completely different than last year. They are ascending as opposed to descending or flatlining like we saw last year. They're playing above their heads at times, especially on the defensive side of the ball. If you're not talking about a deep playoff run, I don't know what's holding you back. You can tell us at 610-632-0975, either text line or the phone line. But, Johnny, that's got to be the conversation at this point. Jaylen Hurts, good for you that you don't want to get ahead of yourself. I'll do it. I don't give a damn. I'm an Eagles fan.
You're getting ahead of yourself. And you should. I mean, there's nothing. This team has given you so many reasons to believe. There's so many things to believe in. But more importantly, what I love about it all is that whatever's going to happen in the next couple months, we talk about the window of opportunity from Window Nation. It is a big bay window. It is one of those giant transom windows that you can get a bunch of stuff through. Because right now, this team is setting up with youngsters on both sides of the ball. And the youngsters on defense, they're dogs. They are just dogs. I mean, and it's great.
It's amazing what they are doing defensively. So, first question today. We're talking NFC Championship game, if not future or further. Excuse me. Further.
Yes.
I think that has to be the conversation. If you're not there yet, tell us what it is, because I don't want to hear one thing. There's one thing I cannot hear from anyone that is not willing to take that step yet. Well, they still haven't beaten anybody.
Because, well, I mean, you know what? The people who move the goalposts,
yes,
they're either not watching or they're trolling. So it's just, at that point, I can't deal with that, with this mentality.
And by the way, did somebody move the goalpost last night when Jake Elliott was kicking?
Yes, yeah, the goalpost was moved a couple of times.
We'll talk about it.
That was a rough night for Jake the Great.
I mean, if you can't count on your kicker to make 50-yard field goals,
you're in trouble.
And he hasn't made one.
But that's not gonna keep me from getting excited about an NFC Championship run. You know what I mean?
But I'm concerned.
Okay,
I'm concerned about that. Thanks a lot, Connor.
And we'll talk about it. Yeah, thanks for derailing us, Connor.
Thanks, Connor.
I said no negativity in the first segment. I said positive Holly Jollies in the first segment.
Well, the upside is now we get to see Nick Sirianni go for it more.
Now, Connor, you were somebody yesterday who kind of was like, all right, I got to see them beat a legitimate opponent. You didn't take away from what the Eagles did in the previous 5 wins, especially because that Cincinnati win was impressive. But you saw them beat a divisional rival on a short week who was 7-3 going into that game. There can't be anybody right now saying that. And if you are, you're just finding something. You're going to, you know what? Maybe Jane Daniels isn't as good as we think he is. Oh, maybe that Commanders team wasn't ready to win against the Eagles. Well, if they weren't ready to win against the Eagles, that means the Eagles are a superior football team.
Absolutely. You should be all in on this team right now. I don't know what this ceiling is. Like, I don't know how this is going to play out. Nobody does. But if you're not all in on this team right now, you don't know what you're watching. And newsflash, the Eagles didn't play nearly their best game. And they won by a final score that was comfortable. Like, the Eagles are the drunk guy at the bar that walks up to you and puts his one arm behind his back and says, I don't need this one, I'll fight you, and then beat your ass anyway. Like, now, you'd like to watch him use 2 hands.
No, I wouldn't. Maybe you would.
Well, we would if we're rooting for him.
Exactly.
But bottom line is, they haven't played their best game in a couple of these, and they still go out and they just take care of business. That's a winning football team with a high ceiling.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And so, our first question, are we talking NFC Championship game, if not further? Oh, we better be.
No, you better be.
The other one is something that you texted me last night, and I found very interesting. You asked, let me pull up the text.
I wonder, too, if you'll think this is positive, negative.
All right,
So the way I phrased it
to loser Kincade. Oh, sorry, John Kincade. There it is. I don't have you.
Wouldn't it be Kincade loser?
Yeah, that's right.
That's how if I put the way I put him in there.
So you texted me this at 11:14 last night for tomorrow.
As I'm getting ready to exit the building at some point here.
Do you think the Eagles are a team that is going to have to win being led by their defense, or is that an overreaction?
And I wonder about it halfway through the year. Halfway through, we have 7 games left, so 10 games, you're more than the halfway point. But is this a team that if they're going to win, we're going to have to say the defense is what leads them to victory? Because no matter how any of the Hurts truthers want to spin it, and Jaylen, by the way, not his worst game, not his best game, but a good enough game to win to make 8-2.
Absolutely.
But that's not going to be good enough to to go to a Super Bowl or win a Super Bowl.
No,
in my opinion. But that defense, they're starting to play like a Super Bowl caliber defense.
They absolutely are. Now, I will say it's a bit of an overreaction because
why is that?
I think it's both. John, I think
it is both.
I think not to be on the fence or cop.
Well, you sound like you're on the Colarulo fence, which, by the way, is always there.
I know it's always there. I think it's both. Now,
okay,
look,
come on.
No, because offensively,
choose a side, coward.
No. I've talked about this, and I'm excited about it because I've been wanting to see this run first approach. The defense gets a breather because of this offense. Because they can have these long, sustained drives with Saquon Barkley where they can bleed clock. Yeah, the defense is holding teams to 20 points or less in most games. But the offense is also allowing them to play far less snaps than the opposing team's defense because of the way they're able to get downfield, bleed clock, take their time. Now, yesterday they were a little bit more up-tempo at times, which I actually did not mind. But I think it's a marriage. Just like I believe Jaylen Hurts and the offensive line are a perfect marriage. Jaylen Hurts escapes a lot of sacks, which makes the offensive line look even better. But the offensive line can also create a beautiful pocket for Jaylen Hurts more often than what other offensive lines can do. The way this Eagles offense and this Eagles defense is married, it's perfect, dude.
Okay, but I'll say to you is this. Last night, just for an example, Eagles offense holds the ball for 5 minutes. Then they go backwards on the first drive. Mm-hmm. Then they hold it for 3 minutes, just over 3 minutes. Then they hold it just over 1 minute. Then they hold it just over 3 minutes. Then they hold it just over 1 minute. This was the series of punt.
Yeah,
punt,
this was
punt,
early on,
punt.
yes.
This was that's the first quarter. They hold it 3 minutes before they kick the field goal. I mean, I understand what you're saying is that it can work that way. Last night.
Well, yeah, maybe last night's not the prime example.
Okay, but here's the reason. You're playing this arguably one of the best teams you played or the best, right there. Either the best team you played or one of them. And their defense isn't that good. And you kept going 3-and-outs, 6-play drives and punt. There was a lot of bumpy road. I know they can work this out, but right now I have so much more confidence with the defensive side.
Totally
of the ball.
fair. You know why?
Why
it was a bumpy road?
Why?
And we're going to get into it in the next segment.
Don't tell me short week.
No. It was a bumpy road because Jaylen Hurts did not play well yesterday.
No, he didn't.
Do I expect Jaylen Hurts to play like that every single week? I do not.
I don't either.
I think Jaylen Hurts has better games in his future. So we're going to unpack that at 6:30. We're going to put our big boy and big girl pants on in a little bit. But
and nobody needs to cry about, it's an agenda.
Exactly.
Oh.
To your point about the defense, here's Nick Sirianni after the game yesterday speaking glowingly of what has been probably the biggest surprise for us here in Philadelphia. And honestly, it might be one of the bigger surprises in all of football, the way this defense has played this season.
I think our guys did a nice job going against them. I think it started up front. We were able to get some pressure on the quarterback and force some scrambles, and we did a good job plastering on some of those scrambles. But just good team defense, and a lot of credit to Q, a lot of credit to Slay, a lot of credit to the underneath coverage that was helping them go other places with the football. Or, it just takes, again, being on – good team defense takes being on the same page, playing with great effort to the football, which I saw a lot in this game, and then just tackling well.
I mean it. They're probably one of the bigger surprises in the NFL, right?
No, they've got to be. I think they're the biggest defensive surprise. When
you're
30th, when you were 30th last year, and you're 7th this year in points per game.
Yeah.
and you were 30th last year. That's all you need to know. I mean, that's huge.
So,
Absolutely.
Our 2 questions to start today, and if you just want to react to the game, you obviously can because, man, that was a fun one last night, beating the Commanders on a Thursday night in what was a tough game, tough battle on a short week. We're talking NFC Championship game, if not further. Right? That's the
I'm
question.
welcoming you aboard if you'd like to be there.
If you're not there yet, tell us why. I would love to hear why because I honestly don't know what it is. And how does this Eagles team need to win? We talk about run-first offense. Is it a defense-first team? 610-632-0975. Those are your questions to start with. And coming up next, like I mentioned, we will talk about the quarterback. We got the exciting stuff rolling. We talk about Jaylen Hurts next. We'll put our big boy and big girl pants on. We're also going to put our logical hats on, John, and not go over the top because, believe it or not, both can happen. We could be critical and not filled with hatred. It's Kincade and Salciunas on a Victory Friday morning, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
A big win for the Birds. I'm Connor Thomas, and this update is brought to you by Bet Parks. Join Seth Joyner and D Gunn for the Bet Parks pre- and post-game shows live at Parks Casino. For every Birds game, must be 21 gambling problem. Call 1-800-GAMBLER. The Eagles, with a huge win last night over the Commanders, a 26-18 final. Find another stellar performance by the defense, and of course, that guy Saquon Barkley. This was only the second time all season the Commanders had been held to 18 points. A great effort by the defensive side of the ball. And Saquon Barkley, well, he just rushed for 146 yards and 2 touchdowns. Both of those touchdowns scored within 20 seconds of game time. That led a fourth quarter charge by the offense to put the game out of reach. Nick Sirianni talked after the game about the win.
Yeah, it was a good win. Anytime you can get a win in this league, it's huge, and it's a good opponent. Again, so much respect for Coach Quinn. He's done an unbelievable job. So we knew we had to be on it today, and so we played a good opponent on a short week, and it was big to get a win.
The Eagles now sit at 8-2 atop the NFC East, 2 games better than Washington in the loss column. They'll have a long week to prepare for the Rams coming up next Sunday night. The Flyers took down the Ottawa Senators 5-4 in overtime last night. Matvei Michkov had the game-winning goal in the OT period. The Sixers will take on the Magic down in Orlando tonight at 7 p.m. You can hear that game live right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. We'll talk to Andrew DeCheco of Inside the Birds at 8:10. This update's also brought to you by Bradford White Water Heaters. When you need a new water heater, choose one that's built to be the best. Choose Bradford White. I'm Connor Thomas for 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now is the time to become a Fanatic MVP. Go right now.
This hour of Kincade Salciunas is presented by Bradford White Water Heaters. Bradford White, they're here for the pro.
It is 6:31 on a victory Friday morning here on Kincade Salciunas 97.5 The Fanatic. We're talking NFC Championship game, right? Is question number one. And how does this Eagles team need to win? Is this a defense-first team, or is that an overreaction? That's what Johnny texted me last night. We'll discuss that with you today at 610-632-0975. Overall Eagles discussion. If you were at the game last night, we'd love to hear from you. If you were out somewhere for the game last night, I'm sure there are a lot of people that took today off, which jealous, even though I do love that we get to come in and talk about this game the following morning.
Day after a game.
It's basically a holiday
You never
for us.
want a vacation.
Yeah, that's true.
That day.
But real quick, before we get into the conversation about Jaylen Hurts, because we got the exciting stuff out of the way, we do have to talk about the real. I saw a tweet right before we came back from break.
Okay.
And it's a Commanders fan account.
All right.
At DC Rising, which, look, good for them. They have something to be excited
They hate
excited
me,
about.
by the way.
Oh, okay.
I was getting into it with them yesterday. They sent me like the waving Commanders flag.
Okay.
And I said, "Is that the Whataburger flag?" And they were. I'm now in trouble with them.
So these fan accounts, they're always pro their team, obviously.
Yes.
And they also watch so much about their team, they don't know about the opposition. They're not educated enough about the opposition. So they put out this tweet before the game yesterday. Last year in Week 8, the Eagles let Sam Howell throw for 397 yards and 4 touchdowns on 75% completion. And they really think they can shut down Jaden Daniels? Now, here's the funny thing. They shut down Jaden Daniels. But in terms of context for us, man, is this defense so much better than last year?
Oh, it's not even
Like,
it's a completely different
so
animal.
much better.
Here's the thing that I loved last night, though, is that, and I still think, if I was a Commanders fan this morning, I am totally still riding that Jaden Daniels is going to be something.
Yeah, you're still proud of your team.
But a great defense, last night a great defense, made him jittery. And I talked about the disruption up the middle.
Oh, yeah,
By the way, Jaylen Carter is just...
Dude, he's a freak.
He's a freak.
He's a freak.
And that was on a short week.
And, like, I you know what? As much as Al is, Al at this point, Herbie's fantastic. And Herbie pointed out Jaylen Carter. Again, you were at the game yesterday, so you weren't watching it. He highlighted Jaylen Carter probably 15 times last night.
Did get to see Herbie. He seems like
That's
he was
cool.
a good... Still distraught over the
I'm
dog.
sure. But, like, Jaylen Carter, even on plays where he didn't go into the stat sheet with a tackle or a sack, he then forced a sack or forced a tackle. The fourth down stop that we're going to talk about later on this hour, that was the biggest turning point of the game yesterday. That started with obviously Jaden Daniels in the bobbled snap, but then Jaylen Carter making him kind of roll out a little bit and bootleg it almost, which then gives your defense more time to set the edge. Reed Blankenship getting in there, Zack Bon making the hit, Darius Slay being there on the hit. It starts with Jaylen Carter again. I mean, he is a force up the middle. It's unbelievable.
He's supposed to be. And I saw our boy Dylan McTrollan.
Yes.
Who was very forthright last night. And I saw a lot of people doing it. Yeah, I'm sorry I gave up on Nolan Smith too early. They found ways to use all the different guys. But
yes, they did.
How many people eat because of what Jordan Davis is doing in the run defense is great too.
Spectacular.
That's a whole other thing. But what Jaylen Carter does is letting so many other guys eat.
Yes.
And his stat line doesn't jump out at you. But every single offensive coordinator, the number one thing that concerns them is dealing with him first.
Yeah, we went from Fletcher Cox to Jaylen Carter. Think about that for a second.
And how much do we tip our cap to Fletcher Cox?
All the time.
For saying to him that he took that kid under wing.
He did.
And also made him uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah, what are you doing today? You sitting around?
Yeah, I remember those.
Around,
I appreciated
Are you
that.
sitting around or are you working?
Yeah.
What time am I going to see you? You going to get there before me? The fact that Fletcher Cox took the time with a youngster that was there to take his job.
Yeah.
Took the time to say, come on, bring it.
Yeah.
Need effort out of you.
Gotta love that.
And that's good.
All right, are your big boy pants on?
Mine are on always. Very
Connor?
much so.
I usually wear tight pants, but are they on?
I'm wearing sweats.
After Mike Missanelli's show yesterday, though, I hope everybody has something else on under your big boy pants.
I heard
Yeah, maybe.
I heard about that.
Maybe some safety garment.
everybody listening, are your big boy pants on?
Yes, we are.
Are your big girl pants on?
We're all grown-ups here.
This is a show of equality. So are your big boy or girl pants on right now?
We're grown-ups.
Or if you're just getting out of bed, are your big boy, big girl undies on? Yeah, whatever you rock in the morning.
I think we get it.
Okay, we got it. We got the undergarments. You fit everything.
Jalen Hurts did not play well last night.
It's
Jalen
not
Hurts,
his best night, no.
Now, I'm wearing a hat. You're not. Connor, is that your logical hat?
It's my Eagles hat.
All right, so it's logical.
I can make it logical.
This is also my logical hat. John doesn't wear hats because his hair is just beautiful.
When God gave you hair like this,
it's pristine.
There's no reason for
it's
you to
beautiful
put a
hair.
hat
It's probably
on.
the best compliment I can give you.
Thank
Probably
you,
the only
buddy.
one I can give you.
I appreciate it.
I also have my logical cap on. Jalen Hurts had a bad game yesterday or a not-so-great game yesterday, but doesn't suck.
Okay, that's fair.
Okay?
Yeah, it's fair.
Is it fair to say that? Because I saw people on social media again yesterday. This is why they're not going to win anything. It's because of Jalen Hurts. And until they find a better quarterback or until he turns things around, they're going to lose. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, but wait a minute, though. You know what I saw just as frequently as that is? Oh, here come the Jalen Hurts bashers.
Yep.
They're picking on Jalen. That was a horrendous performance.
It was not good.
For the first half, again, for the second consecutive game. And there was no sunlight in his eyes.
No,
yesterday.
there was no excuses.
It was against a lousy defense, and they weren't performing. It is all right to make every single one of the statements. You made a great statement. Does Jalen Hurts suck? No, he does not. So anybody who's coming with that, you're lazy, you're tired, you're flat out stupid.
Yeah.
But anybody who's coming with Jalen Hurts has got to play a hell of a lot better than he is playing right now is also true.
Yes.
They can all be true. You don't have to lick boots just because you're a sports fan. You don't have to kiss little backsides all the time. You can make all the statements, and there will be no lies detected. I could get my cousin here as an expert in the lie detector.
All right.
Yes. And so you could put it on. We could you could sit there attached. Did Jalen Hurts play a great game last night? No. No lies would be detected. Did he play a good first half? You could say no, and no lies would be detected. Does Jalen Hurts suck? If you said yes, it would tell you were lying.
Yeah, it would tell you that you're lying.
I mean, it's like enough of the just the defense. The inane defense of Jalen Hurts at all times drives me nuts because you can compliment him, you can critique him, and you can be right all in the same
Gray area is a beautiful place to be, ladies and gentlemen.
That's why I don't wear hats.
His first half was not good. 10 of 19 yesterday, 101 yards, a rating of 68. So it doesn't have to be, oh, you guys in the media, you're hating on Jalen. His rating, the statistic analysis tells you he had a bad first half. And in the second half, he made throws in order for that team to win the football game. This is not a Jalen Hurts bash fest, but Jalen Hurts needs to play better. If we're talking, again, big picture. The big picture conversation, the big picture question that we have for you today at 610-632-0975 is we're talking NFC Championship game now, right? Like, that's our lead question today. You told us earlier in the week, on Monday, the Detroit Lions beat the Texans this past weekend. And Jared Goff threw 5 interceptions.
Where people try to spin it like Jalen has this incredible level of critique, he got crushed.
Yes.
And by the way, he's been crushed all week. Like, they're still crushing him.
Now, 5 interceptions is absolutely crush-worthy.
And Jalen has not done something like that.
No, he is not.
But they're like of the belief system that, dude, this just isn't good enough. It's not good enough. And they're worried because they think this is the year we're going to the Super Bowl.
Right, because they're 8-1, and now all of a sudden the Eagles are right behind them with
They're
that
like,
win
we're
last
going to
night.
the Super Bowl,
They have the
baby.
same amount of wins, and we'll see how it plays out this weekend for Detroit. But look, it's okay, guys, to say that Jalen Hurts did not play great. It's also okay to say that he doesn't suck.
Yes.
You don't have to overly defend, and you don't have to overly hate. I'm glad that we literally had this conversation earlier in this week because it makes me feel better about saying this today.
Revisit it again.
Like, here we are, guys. You want to talk about Jalen Hurts and how he didn't play well yesterday? Please tell us about it. You want to come in here and say that Jalen Hurts gets overly hated by a certain group of Eagles fans? You're absolutely right. But to say that he doesn't deserve criticism, you're wrong. To say that he sucks, you're wrong. The middle ground, gray area, in a lot of walks of life is sometimes the best place to be. Jalen Hurts can play better. he could also play worse. He could have
could.
thrown 5 interceptions yesterday.
I
He
don't
didn't.
think he will, because one thing is, as we compliment Jaylen,
Yes.
he has fixed the turnover problem. He's absolutely fixed it. But last night, his hesitancy to throw the ball in the first half
Yeah.
was maddening, because there were numerous opportunities with guys open underneath, and he's locked on somebody downfield where he just dump off the ball, move the chains, live to fight another day. He missed at least 2 times drives stalled because of him not identifying an wide open receiver underneath.
Right. And what was one of the bigger plays offensively yesterday? It was a check down to Saquon Barkley where he got, 47 yards on it,
That
I
was
believe it was.
unreal.
43 yards. I have it right here. Just a check down to Saquon Barkley.
That was when it was 10-3, too. It was a huge play.
A 43. Like, you don't always have to look downfield. And he's gotten so much better at that. I think he's been coached
not
out
turning
of
it
that.
over and everything, yeah.
And that was why I said earlier in the season I wanted the offense to be simplified a little bit. And you saw it in the second half yesterday. It was a much better performance in the second half. It's okay to be critical and not hate at the same time.
Amazing concept.
It's crazy, isn't it? All right, coming up next, we hear from you for the first time this morning. Also, one of the biggest turning points of the game yesterday. You'll hear the play-by-play of it. We'll try to make it a little bit more exciting because the play was huge. The call was not, but that's okay. It's Kincade Salciunas on a Victory Friday morning, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now is the time to become a Fanatic MVP. Go right
on Kincade Salciunas on this beautiful Victory Friday morning. My God, does it feel good going into a weekend? I know, I was listening to our man Bill Colarulo yesterday during the midday show.
He's got a lot to say.
He's got plenty to say, man. And of course,
He has plenty to say about sports in Philly.
He does the pregame show as well, and he's talking about how he doesn't like Thursday night games, and because from the football standpoint, right? And I totally get it. He's a football guy, man. As a human, I love that I get to go into a weekend on a extremely positive note, doing what we do for a living. This day flies by for us, and this weekend's slate of games are so spectacular, I don't have to not watch them. I can sit back and watch them.
No, you can sit back and now, too, I love being able to sit back and root for other teams to lose.
Yes, and look, if the Lions win, bummer, but it's not at the point where it's like, Lions to lose. I need the Lions to lose.
Because there are games coming up where we could say, yeah, Lions might be in trouble here.
Yeah.
The number one seed is in play this morning.
You're tied with them win wise.
More importantly, though, you want the perfect scenario. If the more the Falcons and the Cardinals lose, whoever's leading those divisions, right now, you have a firm hold on the 2 seed. A firm hold.
Yeah.
You just got to keep serve there. Keep serve, because the teams that are the 3 and the 4 seeds right now have 4 losses. So just get out there. And what that also gives you is the grace to, if you lose a tough one at Baltimore.
Yeah.
If you get upset somewhere along the way, it's not a disaster.
Well, the big thing is you win last night.
That was huge.
You avoid your 3rd conference loss, too.
No, that's huge now.
That's a major win.
And the Commanders, though, there is a chance that the Commanders could roll into the Eagles game 10-4.
They could, yeah.
They've got the Cowboys at home, the Titans at home, a bye week, and then they're at the Saints. They could easily be 10-4. So right now for the Birds, you want to make sure you're at least 3-1. And if the Commanders win that game, they could be tied with you.
I still can't believe they won that Bears game with the Hail Mary.
That was incredible.
Like, seriously, you think about that. That could have legitimately been their 3rd straight loss.
Right. That would have been like a death knell.
But
and you got to wonder if that's a little warning sign that they're coming to earth.
Could be.
And Jayden Daniels last night, the Eagles defense made him look like a rookie.
Yeah, they made him look pedestrian.
And yeah,
still
he looked like a rookie.
high upside for that player.
But he looked like a rookie.
Who,
Yeah,
Captain
absolutely.
check down? Yeah.
It looked like a rookie.
That throw to Noah Brown at his feet, he's wide open. He's got
wide open.
He's got his man beat by 2 or 3 yards, and he just throws it at his feet. I'm not saying it's a touchdown if he catches that ball, but if he puts it in the right place, it's a big play for them. And
someone on press row said they hadn't seen that since McNabb retired.
It's a good line.
I say it's terrible.
All right, let's play this play-by-play for you.
I love this.
And then we'll talk to the people, because I know Connor said we have a ton of texts coming in this morning early on. People also woke up early. It's not just us, Johnny. Here was probably the biggest turning point in the game last night, the 4th down stop on Jayden Daniels.
Oh, boy. Juggled it. Lucky he came away with it. And then he gets slammed out of bounds short of the 1st down. At first, it looked like he was going to fumble it. Vaughn hits him. Daniels, and look at that. Lucky he even got it.
Zack Bon, though.
Need a little bit more out of Al there, but that's okay.
Zack Bon with the play to not let him turn the corner there, because honestly, it was one step.
Yes.
He's got a 1st down with the lunge. He'd have had that 1st down. That's a dynamic play.
Well, there's 4 key players on the Eagles defense in that play. Jaylen Carter busts through the line and
which disrupted the whole
makes
thing.
Daniels have to, roll out a little bit instead of just going for a direct line to the 1st down marker. Then Reed Blankenship comes in like a bat out of hell. Doesn't even make contact with Daniels, but just he was the angry bird. Well, that's Michael Kendricks. I can't take that from him. But he runs through like a bat out of hell, which makes Daniels have to sidestep a little bit. Then Zack Bon makes the legit contact, and then Darius Slay is there to finish the play because there was a missed block by one of the receivers for the Commanders. So there's 4 key moments within one play that was like 5 seconds long.
Is there a chance that ball wasn't supposed to be snapped?
What do you mean? That they were trying to do the...
It was a dumb place to go for it. He did not handle the snap.
Like a hard count?
Trying to get them to jump offside, and if not, they call timeout and kick the field goal.
Point.
Maybe.
I don't believe so, and I don't believe anything came out afterwards that says that was the play.
defended it, but remember, we heard Sirianni defend the end of the Seattle game last year. It may be a guy sticking up for his players. I don't know. It was a weird situation for Washington, and the Eagles took advantage.
I told you with Dan Quinn, as a coach, unless things have changed. Now, they may have changed since his Atlanta days. He had nothing to do with the offense during a game.
Right.
He truly let his offensive coordinator do everything.
And look,
I think Cliff Kingsbury's been a head coach.
Yeah.
Respected. Been a head coach at college, head coach in the pros. So I think he probably gives him the same grace that he gave Shanahan.
Okay. Fair enough. But that was
was
moment.
a great play.
It changed everything.
But I love the fact, though, that you started with Jaylen Carter.
Yes.
Because I think a lot of people will just watch the ball, follow the ball. The whole thing starts with Jaylen Carter he's just a mess.
Football guys, man.
He is just a mess, which is awesome.
Us football guys know everything.
Yeah, you and Jaylen Carter are very similar.
All right. What do we have on the text line? Give us one text, and then we're going to talk to the people all day today because it's a Victory Friday. What a great way to start the freaking weekend. Mid-November. We're entering the holiday season, man. I'm fired up. What do we got?
Let's start with Lou from Langhorne, who says, I'm starting to get that 2022 feeling back, boys, where no matter what happens in the beginning of the game, it feels like at the end of the game, they're always in it till the final whistle.
So at 7:30, I can't wait to get into a conversation that you don't even know about, John. Connor told me a little story, and I said, hold it. I want to hear more on the air. Because Connor was out with his brother last night, who is not an Eagles fan.
Right, he's a Minnesota Vikings fan.
And it was a great little story that Connor told me. And I said, stop. I want to hear the rest of it on the air.
And the wife's already let him out?
Damn right.
Oh, she was
there
out with
too,
us.
man.
Oh,
She's a Birds fan.
Okay, well, that's good.
We respect her.
No, I'm saying leave him at home.
So you heard that texter. Our main question today. So we're talking NFC Championship game now, right? If not, what's holding you back? 610-632-0975. It is a Victory Friday morning. What a beautiful thing to say. Coming up next, Nick Sirianni will talk about that fourth down stop that we just played for you. And also, an awesome, awesome, awesome moment by you Eagles fans who stuck around for the Thursday Night Football postgame show and the love you showed Saquon Barkley and another team in the division. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
The Eagles win their 6th straight. I'm Connor Thomas, and this update's brought to you by Popeyes. It's football season in Philly, so you got to have some grub. Popeyes has just the drawing for any fan of the Birds. We're talking wings, baby. So fly to Popeyes, fly and fill up on wings in 7 delicious flavors. The Eagles won their 6th straight game last night, taking down the Commanders 26-18. This one, the biggest of the 6, because it puts them in the driver's seat in the NFC East at 8-2. It was another stellar performance by the defense and another phenomenal night from Saquon Barkley. This was only the second time all season the Commanders had been held to 18 points or less. And Saquon Barkley, 146 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns, which were both scored within 20 seconds of game time. He led the fourth quarter charge by the offense. Nick Sirianni talked about the win after the game.
Yeah, it was a good win. Anytime you can get a win in this league, it's huge, and it's a good opponent. Again, so much respect for Coach Quinn. He's done an unbelievable job. So we knew we had to be on it today, and so we played a good opponent on a short week, and it was big to get a win.
Well, speaking of the short week, the Eagles have a long week now as they prepare for the Rams next Sunday night. The Flyers took down the Ottawa Senators 5-4 in OT last night. Matvei Michkov, the game-winning goal in overtime. The Sixers will take on the Magic down in Orlando tonight at 7 p.m. You can hear that game live right here on 97.5 The Fanatic, and Andrew DiCecco will join us at 8:10. This update's also brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Progressive is proud to support veterans and small businesses with their annual Keys to Progress vehicle giveaway. Learn more at keystoprogress.com. I'm Connor Thomas for 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now is the time to become a Fanatic MVP. Go right now to 975thefanatic.com.
7 a.m. on Kincade Salciunas on a Victory Friday morning here on 97.5 The Fanatic. And boy, what a win was it last night. Despite the ugly first half. And again, big boy pants, big girl pants on today. Jaylen Hurts was not good in the first half. Jaylen Hurts does not suck. It's okay to say both. Wear your big pants and wear your logical hat. Both parties. The haters.
Yes.
And the over-the-top defenders.
Yes, you can't criticize Jaylen. It's in a matter of a conversation. I put a slash down with my Sharpie. Every time in one discussion point you were talking, you criticized Jaylen twice, you praised him twice.
Oh.
In the same description of events.
And I didn't plan to do that.
You praised him twice, you criticized. Because I'm just like, I can't get over the people who just want to go, wow. Like, I mean, oh my gosh, Jaylen's so criticized. And again, anybody who's played quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles would hear it and would laugh out loud. I got to see Doug Williams last night. And Doug Williams is a guy who has won a Super Bowl and everything like that. He goes, these quarterbacks today get it easy. Just talking to Doug for like, I said, yeah, he goes, how's Jaylen take it here? And I said, Jaylen gets critiqued, and he goes, anything like Donovan? And I said, no. He goes, no? And I said, no. And he goes, nothing like Donovan.
No, not even close.
And I said, not even close.
Yeah.
And I said he has like vehement defenders. And Doug Williams is like, I played in the wrong era. Played in the wrong era, my man.
Yeah. But at the same time, there's also the other side where it's just constant hate, constant doubt.
And that's just as ignorant. You know, that's absolutely ignorant.
Like, I see people saying that Hurts is going to hold them back. And it's like, I've seen him win games. Yesterday's drive where they went up, I think it was the 18-10. It was after the fourth down stop. So they turned the ball over on downs. And remember, there was the missed penalty where Devontae Smith, Luvu's hand went under the helmet. And somehow they picked up the flag on that one.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was disgraceful.
It was horrible. But it was 3rd down and 7, and Jaylen Hurts gets the first down. Remember, they had to make sure he got the first down. They thought he may have stepped out of bounds at first. Like, that was a incredible play that not many quarterbacks are making. And then Kenneth Gainwell had the big runs after that. And then the tush push for the touchdown. So that was actually earlier in the game. It was the first touchdown that they had. But that was a big moment in the game when it's 3rd and 7 after a horrible missed call by the officials. And Jaylen Hurts puts the team on his back and gets that first down. Like, you don't see that from many quarterbacks in the NFL. In a game in which he's not throwing the ball well, he still found another way to help his team in order to win. And then he started throwing better in the second half.
I mean, and all the statements are true. Like, all the statements can be true. It just doesn't. Honest conversation needs to happen, though.
Yes.
And when you have guys like Doug Williams, I played in the wrong era because he was floored that Jaylen Hurts doesn't take as much, if not more, criticism than Donovan McNabb. And I was like, well, no. I said, in fact, you get attacked if you criticize him too harshly. And he's like, man, I played in the wrong era.
Right. Well, he's probably jealous. All right, so our two main questions for you today. It's 610-632-0975. We're talking NFC Championship game now, right? John's been saying it since before the season started. He has already told us about the plans that we will not be making for the NFC Championship game. Me, Connor, and Bill Colarulo, as we will be hosting the pregame show, whether it's in Philadelphia or here at the studio.
And I know that you guys can handle the cold, so if it's 10 degrees for an NFC Championship, I know you guys will be great.
Yeah, we will be just fine. We did not have the Thursday Night Football Amazon blankets that the pregame show had right next to us.
Really?
Yeah, right next to us, Johnny.
I was jealous. Believe it or not, Bill Colarulo, the worst of the three with the cold.
Yes.
Now that shocks me.
I thought he was Mr. Tough Guy.
Yeah, but wait a minute, though. But Bill wears capris. So that's the problem.
Could have had the ankles out last night.
A lot of ladies find the capris not exactly the most warm.
Yeah, the ankles were showing.
Or the yoga pants.
So
was he in the Bill Colarulo yoga pants last night?
I was not looking, honestly.
Well, sometimes you can't help but see.
If you're not talking
Everything.
NFC Championship game at this point, why? 610-632-0975. And John asked another question yesterday When he was driving home, he texted me. The voice to text, of course. No texting and driving.
Yeah, I
ladies and
don't.
gentlemen.
No, I was because it was voice to text, but it was also text to curse.
Yes.
Because I had to stop a few times because of people not being able to drive.
Whether or not this team relies on its defense more so in order to win. So here's Nick Sirianni yesterday. We played you the play-by-play of the fourth down stop, which was probably the biggest turning point in the game yesterday. Here's Sirianni talking about that play and the defense as a whole.
That was huge. That was huge. I mean, that's a turnover in our eyes. And it looked like they had something with the snap. I didn't see exactly what happened, but we got, not only did they have something with the snap, but we got pushback. I don't know who that was. We got pushback on the center and then the guard, I think, and then we were flying to the football. I think we've shown great athletic ability on defense. Again, it takes relentless effort, but shoot, you need good athletes out there doing it. So a credit to Howie and his staff of the guys that are on this field. We're an athletic defense that flies around and hits, and that's as that play got strung out, you could see the effort to the football, but you also could see the athletic ability to the football to make that play because Jaden Daniels is obviously a really good athlete, really good football player. It was good to be able to string that thing out and get the stop. It was huge. Because we went down and made it a 2-score game. Was it 19-10 when we made that? Yeah, I think it was 12-10. Yeah, so huge because then we went up 2 scores. So big stop.
So he mentions the athletic defense. That's one of the biggest differences from last year. Not that there's no unathletic NFL players, but you see the youth, you see the quickness, you see a step that they didn't have last year. I remember, John, I had a conversation with my dad. I forget when it was, but it was late in the season. It was, you know what? It was right after the Niners game. So this was before everything went to complete poop for the Eagles last year. They lost that Niners game, and my dad and I are talking, and he goes, man, they look like they got old fast.
Okay.
And I'm like, huh.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
And I started looking around at the defense, and obviously there was a lot of vets. And as that year went on, those veteran bodies could only hold up so long. Zach Cunningham lost a step. James Bradbury, we know, lost 3 steps. He may have lost a foot for all we know.
It's still Thursday night in his world.
Yeah.
That's how many steps he's lost.
And it was just all across the field, all the different safeties they tried trotting out there. Remember, they didn't know who their second safety on the other side of Reed Blankenship was going to be. They tried veterans. They tried everybody, and everybody just looked slow. And not obviously they beat me in a 40-yard dash, but in the NFL, where offenses are faster year in and year out, you need to keep up with that. And the defense was old last year. This year it's young. They're quicker. Quinyon Mitchell is following Terry McLaurin, who's been one of the better receivers in the NFL this year, just like he's paper and glue. It's unbelievable how much different this team is just from a physicality standpoint and to Nick Sirianni's point, an athletic standpoint.
Okay, if I gave it to you here, Amari Cooper, Malik Neighbors, Jamar Chase, last night, Terry McLaurin, Quinyon Mitchell's
CeeDee Lamb last week.
Quinyon Mitchell, nothing.
Yeah.
Given up to Terry McLaurin. Terry McLaurin scorched this team. The last 2 seasons.
Yes.
Scorched them. And right now, what Howie Roseman found in that, by the way, it's one of those things where we criticize Nick Sirianni for a lot of things. Nick Sirianni was identified as one of the most vocal voices in going and getting Quinyon Mitchell because of his association with his college coach. That has to be mentioned, too. They went with Quinyon Mitchell, and they're really happy they did.
They are. And they're really happy that every team in the first round didn't draft Cooper DeJean, too.
Well, that to me.
They're very happy about that.
That to me will be, and it was funny, is because last night, I think it was it Pat McAfee last night said when he got the pass interference penalty, which I know Connor was losing his mind over.
Yes, that was
Pat
that was a
McAfee
horrible call.
He goes, okay, that's a little racial. He goes, that's a little racial profiling there.
It was a horrible call.
He goes, those kids are playing incredible football. They're so young, and again, for Eagles fans, It's that window nation, window of opportunity we talk about. And the Salciunases have a window nation door. It's
beautiful.
So it's a big door. You can start walking people
door of
through the door.
opportunity, baby.
Because this Eagles defense is only going to get better, and they're already incredibly young.
Yeah.
And they're going to have a chance like this offseason to get younger. And the way that they're picking players right now on the defensive side of the ball, Howie looks like he's had 3 good drafts in a row.
Yeah.
And there were people bailing on people on some of the decisions. By the way, Jordan Davis, who's taken a lot of slander in this
Yes,
town.
he has.
Jordan Davis, Herb Street, last night, a little bit before the game, had just a quick chance. And Jordan Davis goes, it's just about, how many of these Georgia boys? And I said, some of them, though, have been slow cookers. I said, It's not been day one they arrived and looked like they belonged.
Right.
And now he goes, look like they belong now.
Yeah, it's okay to be patient sometimes.
That's the hard part. It's a hard part for me, and I'm sure it's a hard part for a lot of fans.
Absolutely. But this past draft, being able to get Quinton Mitchell without having to trade up, and then you had the capital to trade up for Cooper DeJean, this draft defensively may have swung the Eagles in such a positive direction.
Also, it's going to allow them to have the flexibility to, since they hit,
yes,
to be able to maybe be more aggressive to say, combine a couple draft picks to go get exactly what they want in a position.
Right.
Somebody they really feel comfortable
or
with.
sign somebody if you're still under the cap. All right, what do we have on the text line? And then I want to play you an awesome moment post-game yesterday with a lot of Eagles fans showing love to Saquon Barkley and the New York Giants. But what do we have on the text line, Connor?
So Pat from Hainsport checks in. Shout out to Port, my hometown. Love it. But Saquon Barkley definitely deserves a lot of the talk for the win last night. But Jaylen Carter was an absolute beast, too. The dude is a game changer week in and week out, and he creates a lot of the opportunity for this defense.
Yeah, I mean, he was ridiculous yesterday, and his stat sheet might not show it. But if you know a little bit about football, you can see what the impact that guy makes. And for the people that do the All-22, I'm sure he's going to be highlighted a lot about look at what this guy causes opposing quarterbacks, especially a young quarterback like Jaden Daniels, who may not have seen that just yet in his NFL career. I know the Steelers brought a lot of pressure up the middle, but if you're the Commanders and you're Cliff Kingsbury, you're probably doing attention to detail with TJ Watt leading up to that game.
Absolutely, yeah.
The attention to detail was Jaylen Carter, I imagine, for the meeting rooms going into this game if you're the Commanders. And, man, Jaylen Carter, it didn't matter how much attention they put on him. He found a way.
He really does.
Now,
and again, I think a lot of other people are looking legitimate because of him.
Oh, yeah.
Like he's making everybody look a little bit better. And hopefully Milt Williams is okay because he had to go to the trainer's room and everything with a foot injury, so hopefully he's all right.
Yes, hopefully.
In the last 5 minutes of that game last night.
Because he's been tremendous as well.
Again, benefiting from playing alongside Jaylen Carter.
By the way, speaking of Saquon Barkley, to the texter's point, and we'll play this clip for you in a second. Do you know how many yards per carry he's averaging?
Saquon?
Yeah.
5.2.
6'1".
Yeah, you guys are both in the ballpark. 5.8.
Oh, well, then Price is right.
Yeah.
I win.
5.8
Price is right.
yards per carry. Now, obviously, it's not as simple as saying, hey, just keep on handing him off the football because he's going to get a first down every 2 carries. But it's unbelievable. He's 197 carries this year for 1,137 yards. Only 8 touchdowns. If they didn't do the tush push, he's probably got 12, 13, 14 this year. It's unbelievable what he has been able to accomplish. And I love this moment. Last night, following the Eagles' win against the Commanders, the Amazon Thursday Night Football crew was doing their post-game stuff on the sideline, inside Lincoln Financial Field. And obviously a lot of Eagles fans stuck around to watch the post-game show and cheer on some of the players that were interviewed by the Thursday Night Football crew. Here's Saquon Barkley, and I'll tell you right now, I don't know a word he says in this clip. I just know what the Eagles fans are saying in the background.
Oh, it feels amazing. It feels amazing. Last year it was, tough year for me mentally. Did a really good job of. They love the Cowboys.
I'm gonna stop you for a second. I'm gonna let the crowd take this one. You guys listen at home. They are saying, "Thank you, Giants."
I have no idea what Saquon said.
I don't either.
That clip was not "Hear Saquon Barkley" postgame. That clip was "Hear you after the game. And even if you weren't one of those Eagles fans, I was in bed watching post-game stuff at that point. All right? Everybody was thinking the same thing. Thank you, Giants. It's unbelievable that they didn't even offer him a contract. The owner of the Giants says he's going to lose sleep if he comes to Philadelphia. He comes to Philadelphia and has been everything is advertised and times that by 10.
He might run for mayor.
Well, that's Jason Kelce.
He could run for DA then.
Okay.
I'd back him in that endeavor.
Yes.
You need me to write a check? Just tell me where to send it.
Pro Saquon.
Yes.
But it's unbelievable what he's been able to accomplish. Now, we kind of expected dominance because of Jaylen Hurts. I still remember the day the news came out that they were going to sign him. My first thought was Jaylen Hurts' life gets so much easier. There's no more excuses because defenses have to be prepared to stop Saquon Barkley. They can't load up the box, and once they start running the ball really well, they'll start paying more attention to the run, which will then open up the pass for Jaylen Hurts, yada, 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 yada. Saquon Barkley's life is also easier with Jaylen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith.
How about an offensive line?
An offensive line that is not made of duct tape. Seriously, his life is so much easier. You don't think he's listening to that crowd and going, yeah, thank you, Giants. Like, he's thinking it too.
Yeah, he has to be. He's got to be. I mean, it's a beautiful life for him because, again, sometimes star players compile a lot of stats places, but they never get to play on the stages they want to play on.
Right.
Saquon Barkley, they're preparing the stage that you've been waiting for.
Yeah,
and you're
absolutely.
Gonna have it.
All right, give us another text, but before that, real quick, we have not mentioned it yet, and shame on us. What also could have been the biggest play of the game yesterday? We talked about the turning point, which was that fourth down stop. Grant Calcaterra having a football IQ of 1 billion is a big reason why you won that football game yesterday. If you missed it, it was in the fourth quarter. The Eagles were only up 12-10 at this time. And there was the big play from Jaylen Hurts to Saquon Barkley. They were within their own 30-yard line. They were on the 29-yard line, and the ball is completed at midfield. So it was basically a 21-yard completion in the air, and then Dallas Goedert gets 10 more yards on the ground running with the after the catch. And then a beautiful play was made by somebody on the Commanders punching the ball out. There were 4 white jerseys around that football and 1 green jersey. Grant Calcaterra had nothing to do with that play leading up to it. But did not – I mentioned DJ Moore to you guys again a couple days ago. Caleb Williams trying to escape, does escape. DJ Moore thought the play was over and walked to the sideline.
He's already walked to the sideline.
He was about to sit on the bench by the time that play was over. Grant Calcaterra, football IQ, 6th-round pick.
A guy who that's attention to detail.
Absolutely.
That is, I want to be a part of this team. I want to make sure that when they're in a tape session, they see that I hustled my backside off.
Yeah.
Little did he think he'd be making the play. I think that play could have saved the game.
Well, you're up 12-10. This
could
was
easily have saved the game.
It's right after you get the stop. So imagine you get the stop, but then you fumble the ball and you lose it. Commanders
and then they burn clock and they go down, and this time they kick.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or they score a touchdown. Who knows?
I still don't know what Dan Quinn was thinking.
Neither do I. But listen, man, kudos to you, Grant Calcaterra, because that is a big reason why you won that football game last night. All right. We'll get to the text line coming up next, but also an awesome story that I only heard part of. You heard none of. What does an outsider think of the Philadelphia Eagles? And we're not talking about an analyst. We're not talking about somebody that breaks down film, unless Connor's brother does this on his own time. I don't think that he does.
No, his brother's not as big a geek as Connor is.
So Connor Thomas has a brother who is not an Eagles fan. He's a fan of the Minnesota Vikings. And he asked a great question to Connor and his new wife, not your wife, Connor, your brother's wife. And I think
You're not supposed to covet your brother's wife.
We all have the same thought. But it's interesting from an outsider's perspective about this Eagles team that we love and also stress over. It's Kincade and Salciunas on a Victory Friday, 97.5 The Fanatic.
one. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
It is 7:30 on a Victory Friday morning here on 97.5 The Fanatic. We'd love to hear from you. We'll check the text line and the phone line in a moment at 610-632-0975. Overall Eagles discussion on the table, but our questions. We're talking NFC Championship game now, right? Now that you saw them beat a team of note, right? How many times do we have to hear that? Well, they haven't beaten anybody yet. Well, they beat the Commanders yesterday on a short week. That was an impressive win, and they still didn't play their best football, and they found a way to win. Full team effort. Jaylen Hurts did not have a good first half. It is okay to point that out without being a hater, right? And you also shouldn't be over-defending a guy who had a bad first half. Second half, he played much better. So did the running game, and the defense was spectacular from the first quarter on. If you're not talking NFC Championship game, what is holding you back at this point?
Right now, it's just you want to be contrary.
And that has to be it.
Because if you're going to make the case, who's better behind them? Who's better behind them? Because that's the only argument you got to make.
It's Eagles-Lions, that's it.
Is that it's the Eagles and the Lions right now. Who's better behind them? Is it the Packers? Don't think so. Is it the Falcons or the Cardinals? No.
Nobody in the NFC.
And they're already 2 wins behind them, 2 losses behind them in the loss column, so that's not good. I mean, if you're getting into I think you're just trying to be contrary.
Niners are the one team I go,
Niners, oh no. Niners right there.
I
We
just
all
want them
agree.
to be done.
We all agree.
That's all.
We'd love to see the Niners get like 6 losses.
But if the two teams played right now, I'm taking the Eagles.
I take the Eagles in South Philly right now.
Absolutely. All right, so we'll get to the text line in a second, but I'm curious to hear the story in full. So Connor Thomas, good morning.
Hello.
You've been on the
Hi,
air.
Connor.
Already, but good morning again.
Thank you.
So you were out last night with your brother and his new wife. They recently got married, and I'm glad that they can share football together, which is something that my wife and I don't, so that's a beautiful thing that they do.
Mine doesn't either, so.
The only problem is that they don't share the team that they root for. And this could be a storyline down the road because Eagles-Vikings not that long ago was a pretty big rivalry.
He's used to it. I've been fighting him over it for years.
Pretty big rivalry not that long ago. Yeah, but that's brother v. brother.
Well, he's a mama's boy. To be honest, right?
Husband and wife is a little bit different. So you were out with them last night, and tell the audience, and John, because I heard a bit of it, and I would like to hear the whole story, about what your brother was saying during the game.
So we're in a fantasy football league together, and my brother recently acquired Jaylen Hurts, and he's had Saquon Barkley. So he's now rooting for 2 of the biggest parts of the Eagles' offense that really help him week to week in fantasy. So he's actively rooting for the first time. This is the first week he had those 2 players on his team. He's sitting there for the first time emotionally invested in an Eagles game. And it was like halftime or maybe the start of the third quarter. And he's like, dude, how do you guys do this every week? This is just so frustrating to watch the way that this offense goes. And I was just like, dude, they do it all the time. Just buckle up. They'll figure something out later in this game.
It's uncanny, though. And this is an outsider perspective, right? He's watching this game going, man, do you guys deal with this every single week? Yeah.
Kind of.
We boo the team heading into the tunnel at halftime. It seems like every single home game this year. And then it turns around in the second half. Now, is that poor game planning? Is that guys not ready for the start of the game? And then great adjustments at halftime? I don't know what it is. I would like 4 quarters of great football from both sides. Well, obviously, you had 4 quarters of great football by the defense. I need 4 quarters from the offense as well. But it's a spot-on feeling that we all know probably a little too well at this point.
Yeah, and you just got to I don't like watching games with people that I don't share a affiliation with as far as the team.
Yes.
I couldn't do that. And that includes family members. Otherwise, I won't watch with people that if I knew somebody was, I've been invited. Our neighborhood is overrun with Penn State people.
Okay.
And we have some really great neighbors. And I have literally never attended at least 3 or 4 invites. I've just said, you don't want me there. Because you guys are all there and you're going to root for Penn State.
And you want them
it's
to
a Penn
lose.
State party.
Yeah.
And I will vehemently want them to lose. And so you don't want me there, so I bow out of that. I don't want to be, and I don't want to be around. I'm like, hey, we're having a Villanova Hoops watching party.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go. I might put the house for sale.
But the amazing thing is that somebody from the outside realized the pain that we that we deal with on a weekly basis.
And the thing is, though, is that I'd rather have the pain of relevance than the pain of irrelevance. I'd rather have the pain I'd rather have the pain of, like, if you said to me, you're like, when they lost the 3 consecutive NFC title games, I was like, sign me up. I'd rather lose NFC title game weekend every year.
Oh, well, how many times
than not be in the mix at all?
How many times have you heard me say we are in a great era of Philadelphia sports?
No, it's the greatest. You guys are spoiled brats.
Yeah, despite
the two of
one
you
championship.
The two of you are spoiled brats.
It could be a lot worse, man.
Everybody in your age group, absolutely spoiled.
Yes.
You are silver spoon.
I don't run from it.
No, and you're not. You can't.
I don't run from it, man.
You are silver spoon kids. Now, when I say it, as sports fans, as in your parents' generation, we walked 2 miles uphill both ways to school.
In the snow.
In the snow.
Or 100-degree heat.
Yes.
It was one or the other.
We didn't have school called off because the air conditioning, it was going to be too hot. School was too hot. You're not going to school. No.
Yeah, you went to school, man.
We went to St. Anastasia, and you sweat your things off. You did.
That's why everyone was so thin back then.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. As I've said to you, we just had that conversation the other day. It's a little different.
Let's go to Dre in Blackwood. Dre, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Hey, what's up, guys?
What's up, Dre?
Hey, man. Love the show. I kind of can relate, man. My brother loves the Eagles. Unfortunately, I'm a Cowboys fan. They sucked for 20 years. It hurts my soul.
20?
But, just real
30.
quick, man. Yeah,
going.
me and my brother. I'm sorry, what happened?
30. Keep going. 40.
Yeah, man.
50.
Oh, my gosh.
Me and my brother were talking about it this morning, man, and we were talking. Hold on, Miss Rachel's going to play 1 second. I'm on the radio.
Dude, Miss Rachel. I do have there was a whole year of my life was Miss Rachel.
Miss Rachel, Coco Mel.
There you go.
But, the experience, man. The experience of the defense. I just want to see if the defense is going to be able to hold up to what those playoff expectations can bring. Because, we seen with the bright lights yesterday. They came on and they did their thing. And like I said, I'm a Cowboys fan, but they suck. But the Eagles, y'all are doing y'all thing. And when you see those bright lights, man, they showed up. I just want to see if they can do it in the playoffs, man.
Well, absolutely. We want to see that too.
Now, the beauty is you have a defensive coordinator who I think ushers them into a good place going into the playoffs. That guy's seen everything.
And you're very level-headed, Dre. You're a very level-headed man.
Yeah, my mom raised 2 good kids, man.
That is, she did.
Real quick before we let
Connor
Trey
has
go.
a message for you.
Yeah, what's that?
Enjoy Miss Rachel, Dre. We appreciate the call. Miss Rachel, not to get off topic.
Okay, who's Miss Rachel?
Miss Rachel, dude, look up her net worth. Millionaire.
Okay.
She ran a YouTube kids channel. I played it on the air last year with Ray doing middays, and I think 5,000 people listening to the show turned it off. I think it was a tune out.
Well, nice we're going back to it.
Hi. How you doing? It's the worst freaking thing in the world. However, she made millions. And it's actually kind of a great story. Her child had some developmental issues growing up. She learned how to teach her child, and then she turned it into a YouTube channel.
Really? That's excellent.
It's actually a beautiful story.
But her voice is annoying, is what you're telling me?
God.
Really bad?
Don't even get me started.
It's annoying. I'm just trying to check out these flex rules.
Thank you for getting us back on track.
Trying to look and see the flexes, how far in advance. The NFL this year, which I didn't know till a listener alerted me, you can flex Thursday night games now. You can be flexed into a Thursday night game.
Into a Thursday night game?
Yes.
Oh,
that's the first time. Okay, but here's a good deal. It has to be 28 days in advance minimum. So the only games that would be available where the Eagles could possibly be flexed into a Thursday night game are the last 3 games of the year.
Yeah,
Cowboys, Giants. Cowboys, Giants. Oh, Commanders, Cowboys, Giants. They're not putting Commanders, Eagles again.
No, that would be Sunday night.
They can't do that.
Oh, okay.
So it would be the Cowboys, Eagles in Week 17, or Eagles, Giants in Week 18. That's not happening.
No.
So they're not doing that. But there is that flexing going on. I am interested to see, though. I do think that there will be some movement on this schedule.
Well, my question is, why would you flex to a Thursday night?
Well, that's because they have the ability to, I guess, in the deal with Amazon.
But my question is, would you flex more so bad.
Yeah, but
teams
Amazon
to
would be
third.
pissed. No, because Amazon would be pissed.
Yeah.
Amazon is the one who gets to do it.
I just
Who
think
gets to be involved in
that's
this process.
murky waters, man. Like you prepare for this Thursday game weeks in advance.
Well, that's why I'm going to say to you this. Remember, last year, the Eagles in December got flexed out weeks 13 through 17. You can flex into Monday night games.
Yeah.
So weeks 13 through 17 would be the Cowboys, Commanders, Steelers, and Panthers games. They could get flexed to Monday night.
Yeah.
That could happen. So Eagles, Commanders could get flexed to a Monday night. Eagles, Steelers could get flexed to a Monday night.
Right.
We're hoping that doesn't happen.
No, hopefully not. All right, coming up next, our man Brendan Gunn, associate producer of the show, he put together a great montage from last night's Eagles victory over the Commanders. You will hear that next. Also, Nick Sirianni speaks on the slow starts on offense, because that did happen yesterday. And if you have your big boy pants on and big girl pants on and your logical hat on, it's okay to say that happened. And Jaylen Hurts wasn't good in the first half, but he doesn't suck. It's Kincade Salciunas on a Victory Friday, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now is the time to become a Fanatic MVP.
every Friday morning in Philadelphia on show number 175 of Kincade Salciunas. We thank you all for joining us, whether it's on YouTube, the app, on the radio, however you listen to us and however you have been listening to us. We appreciate it. It's been a fun ride, John.
A lot of on time, on listening this morning. We see a lot of people that were up early and have stuck around listening on the app.
Oh, they're ready to go. I mean, look, that was the biggest win of the season last night. That was the biggest game of the season last night. And now for the naysayers, there are haters, but there's also people that are just overly cautious before getting excited. And a lot of people did the whole, I need to see them beat a real team.
I'm tired of those. I am so tired of those people. And if they still are pulling out that garbage this morning, they can take it elsewhere.
They can't.
I cannot deal with it.
They can't.
Because all you keep doing is just moving the goalposts right down. Because if you're telling me they're not playing anybody, you're not beating anybody, when they do, when they dominate, and yes, Jayden Daniels was this year's version of from Houston, C.J. Stroud. You know, this is the next one who is going to reset the NFL quarterback position. Right. Young quarterbacks struggle, and sometimes it happens. More established teams can make them look dumb. Last night, they made Jayden Daniels look very, very average.
Yes. They absolutely did.
And I would still be buying stock in him this morning.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But a great job by the Eagles defense yesterday. How did the game sound? Our man, Brendan Gunn, associate producer of the show, put together this incredible montage of last night's victory, courtesy of Amazon or Fox, depending on how you watched it, if you were a local viewer. But, of course, Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit on the call last night for Amazon.
First place in the NFC East on the line tonight as the Philadelphia Eagles take the field at Lincoln Financial Field as the Eagles get their first look at the rookie sensation Jayden Daniels and the Washington Commanders on Thursday Night Football. They'll have to here on a 2nd and 14. Daniels under pressure again. Swung down to the 29-yard line. Josh Sweat. 21-yard attempt. Well, if he misses this one, you'll hear a serenade like no other. But he doesn't. 36. Extra pressure. A little dump off is caught. Big gain here. Into the secondary goes Saquon Barkley over down the 21-yard line. It's a little lollipop pass. Got away from Percy Butler. The turn would have been a short gain into a very long one, 43 yards. 31-yard attempt for Elliott. 1 for 3 tonight. 2 for 4 tonight now. Washington 10. Philadelphia 6. 3rd and 5. Look out. Down he goes. 34-yard line. Nolan Smith. Another one of those Georgia Bulldogs gets the sack. Everybody knows what's coming. Hurts. Can he get in? He is. Touchdown. Elliott to the point after. And, oh boy, I'm telling you, no! And the serenade begins. 12-10. Eagles. Oh boy, juggled it. Lucky he came away with it, and then he gets slammed out of bounds, short of the first down. At first it looked like he was going to fumble it. Vaughn hits him. Daniels, and look at that. Lucky even got it.
I call Zack Bon the tone setter in that group, but Zack Bon, how he's been able to come here, be a part of this team, take leadership in his role. His actions do a lot of talking for him.
That's the fake. Finally has a ton of time and wide open. Catch is made. Goddard loses the ball, but the Eagles are there to recover it. Knocked out by Quan Martin, and Goddard lost the ball, and then Grant Calcaterra saves the day. Does he ever? The call is on the ground, and a first down, and a ton more. Barkley, touchdown. Meanwhile, the icing on the cake for Barkley, he now has 100 yards tonight.
Obviously, Saquon's going to get all the credit for that, but you can't be great without the greatness of others. And Saquon was great tonight, but that offensive line was really good.
Daniels fires over the middle, and is Reed Blankenship, who for the moment has awarded the interception. And they're going to go celebrate. Down by 9 now in the battle for first place. Barkley! Does he have another one? Yes, he does. Touchdown. 39 9 yards for the touchdown. And a knee here. They'll kneel it down and essentially calling a timeout here that they could. They'll let the clock run down. And the Philadelphia Eagles have now made it 6 in a row after starting 2-2. Washington loses back-to-back for the first time this year. It's a game-and-a-half lead now in the NFC East.
It feels amazing. It feels amazing. Last year it was, tough for me mentally. Did a really good job of.
I'm gonna stop you for a second. I'm gonna let the crowd take this one. You guys listen at home. They are saying thank you, Giants.
All right, great job, Brendan Gunn. That was spectacular.
Great job, Brendan. And he was here at like 3:30 in the morning to get that done.
Yes, he was.
Always early.
First one in, last one to leave.
And but the amazing job by the fans last night.
That was
That's
awesome.
classic.
That thank you
And
Giants clip.
They're going to be our buddy Sean Morash.
Dude, I was about to bring him up.
Oh, he's going to be. He's already losing his mind.
He's lying.
He's just losing his mind.
Here's a tweet from him last night at 11:02 p.m. So this is when it's the restraining order time with the X.
He was on with us from WFN, does afternoons with Tiki.
Yes.
On in afternoon.
He was on with us not long ago, yeah.
Yeah, he was just on with us
before the Eagles-Giants game. Saquon Barkley might want to sign a restraining order because they've been broken up. The Eagles-Giants thing is done. Or Saquon and the Giants.
Not for Sean, it's not.
Eagles fans high-fiving each other about a running back they paid a ton for. A running back they'll never win a Super Bowl with. All while the Giants found a better one in the 5th round of a draft, making an eighth of the money. It's got to be brutal being a Philly lunkhead.
A lunkhead, eh? Did you see the our buddy Pat figured out last night? Devin Singletary's cap hit is $3.75 million this year.
Yeah.
Saquon Barkley's $3.8.
Yeah.
An extra $50,000.
And that running back that he's talking about in the 5th round is Tyrone Tracy.
Right, who is a fine player.
But let's not get ahead of ourselves here. He's,
No,
he's had a couple good weeks, and now all of a sudden he's better than Saquon Barkley.
It's like you can win with him. The Giants' rushing attack is not better than the Eagles.
It's not even close.
I don't know what you're looking at. I think Sean's a little delusional. Little delusional. I think some of the little sugar high he was on, maybe.
Yeah, it was 11 o'clock at night. He was staying up.
He was probably at Bob's Bar. He has Bob's Bar in his backyard.
Okay, that's right.
So Bob's Bar is in the backyard. He probably was a little imbibed.
Dude, he's hate watching Saquon.
I love it, though.
Saquon should get a restraining order on Sean Morash. That's what I'm learning. All right, coming up next, not Monday morning, but we do our Monday morning radio host on a Friday. We break down some of the clips from Nick Sirianni's post-game press conference. So there's been some audio that we have yet to get to today. You'll hear from the head coach. We'll react to what he has to say. And then at 8:10, our man Andrew DeCecco joins us like he always does after an Eagles game to get his analysis on the game. I know you guys had a nice dinner yesterday.
We did.
So I hope I hear about your date.
We did. I also heard something after dinner that everybody's going to want to hear about Jake Elliott.
Ooh, all right. It is Kincade and Salciunas on a Victory Friday morning, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
The defense dominates again. I'm Connor Thomas, and this update is brought to you by Wawa. Right now, Wawa has pizza at a really great price. Get a personal 14 or 16-inch Wawa pizza for just $6, $8, or $10. Gotta have a Wawa. The Eagles took down the Commanders 26-18 last night. It was another strong performance by the Eagles defense. This was only the second time the Commanders had been held to 18 points this season. No team has held them to less. Saquon Barkley, of course, also was a huge factor in the game. Rushed for 146, 2 touchdowns. He was a big part of the fourth quarter offensive charge that put the Eagles up for good. Nick Sirianni shared his thoughts on the win after the game.
Yeah, it was a good win. Anytime you can get a win in this league, it's huge, and it's a good opponent. Again, so much respect for Coach Quinn. He's done an unbelievable job. So we knew we had to be on it today, and so we played a good opponent on a short week, and it was big to get a win.
The Eagles now sit at 8-2. They're atop the NFC East. They're 2 games better than Washington in the loss column, and they'll have a long week to prepare for their trip to Los Angeles to face the Rams next Sunday night. The Flyers beat the Senators 5-4 in overtime. Matvei Michkov, the overtime winner for them. The Sixers will take on the Magic down in Orlando tonight at 7 p.m. You can hear that game live here on The Fanatic. Andrew DeCecco joins us coming up next. This update's also brought to you by Indeed.com. Make the hiring process work for you with Indeed's end-to-end hiring solution. You can attract, interview, and hire candidates all from one place. Start at Indeed.com/credit. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the 76ers and Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Now is the time to become a fanatic.
Kincade Salciunas on a victory Friday morning here on 97.5 The Fanatic. We're about to do our Monday morning radio host on a Friday where we react to some of the things Nick Sirianni said
That's not confusing
post-game.
at all. Don't just continue.
It's not. But real quick, something that I really love about this Eagles defense that I didn't see last year and I haven't seen in a couple of years. And I know Sirianni actually talked about it earlier this week. And I only thought of it because I just saw a tweet from Barstool Philly. It was after the Blankenship interception yesterday, which great play by Reed Blankenship. You guys happy?
No,
you
take a little bit
Come
longer.
on now. You seriously now.
Great play
Was
by
he in
Reed?
coverage enough for you?
It was a mistake made by the receiver.
Oh, jeez.
I'm kidding.
3 big-time clutch interceptions
I know,
this year.
it was-
And by the way,
that was a big one.
Put some respect
and
on his
half
name.
the other 3/4 of the guys in that secondary
Drop that
They
pass.
should go to Jefferson for a hand transplant.
That was a great interception. I love seeing everybody come together and celebrate it. They go to the end zone, they do a dance or something. If you remember the 2017 Eagles, whether it was a touchdown or a play on defense, they celebrated everything. And sometimes it got hokey. Like I remember there was a game where they were losing by like 3 scores and somebody intercepted a pass and they celebrated. I'm like, come on, guys, time and place. Like,
Okay.
if you're down 3 scores, I don't need you celebrating an interception in the fourth quarter where you're not going to come from behind. But there's a connection with this team that is something that makes you smile. Because, look, they're playing with one another. You remember, John, Josh Sweat straight up called out some of his teammates last year for playing for themselves.
Let's just call it as it is.
Hassan Reddick.
Hassan Reddick.
This team
And he's
is
the same guy that Fletcher Cox was talking about. Guys playing for stats. Guys freelancing, I think was the word of Josh Sweat.
Yeah.
Guys that weren't doing what the play calls were. I mean, it's they're playing for each other.
They're playing for each other.
They're playing unified. They're not playing saying, I need to build up stats because I'm not pleased with my contract.
Yeah. And there's a connection in that locker room. And I love seeing every turnover last week against the Cowboys, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson in the end zone. Like, it's been great. All right, it's time now for the Monday morning radio host on a Friday.
Now, the Monday morning radio host on 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
All right, we react to some of the things that Nick Sirianni said post-game, and it's another great day for the head coach. He didn't do anything crazy. Here is Nick Sirianni talking about getting a good win on a short week.
Yeah, it was a good win. Anytime you can get a win in this league, it's huge. And that's a good opponent. So much respect for the coaches on that opposite team and the players on that Washington team. Again, so much respect for Coach Quinn. He's done an unbelievable job. So we knew we had to be on it today, and so we played a good opponent on a short week, and it was big to get a win.
I mean, any win on a Thursday is big. It really is. Both teams have to deal with it, so it's not like one team has more issues than the other. A short week is the same thing for both teams. But, dude, it feels good when it's in division, too. You win on a short week like that, and it wasn't necessarily pretty, and probably because of the short week. Both teams struggled with it yesterday. That's a huge win.
I don't understand what the short week has to do with not seeing wide open receivers underneath in the first half. I have no idea what that would have to do
Not
with
as much
that.
practice throughout the week.
Different game plan every week, depending on the opponent.
There's wide open receivers. There's a pocket. You have the most time to throw of any quarterback in the NFL. Of any quarterback. And you can't hit underneath receivers early on. It takes you to like the third quarter, fourth quarter.
Jaden Daniels had the
isn't
same issues yesterday.
Long week, short week, whatever. Jaden Daniels is a rookie.
Okay.
Not a fifth-year quarterback in the NFL. I don't want to hear the comparison.
All right.
Just got to own that.
Fair
I'm
enough.
tired of hearing about the short week. Ridiculous.
I think it's
me.
a very real thing.
else talks about it.
Yeah, I think it's a very real thing in the NFL.
Literally every other team says it. But
All right, we haven't really talked.
Except for Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, that was one.
Who seem to have no
One
problem
game.
going up and down the field because you know what? They're the same level of quarterback that Jaylen Hurts is supposed to be. No more excuse making. They
1
were
in
ready.
100, and
Short
that's
week.
the example.
Short week. Both of those quarterbacks were able to have a game plan that they saw wide open receivers and they hit them over and over again.
I
So
also
stop
have
with the
both
short
of those
week.
guys ahead of Jaylen Hurts.
I understand, but stop with the short week stuff.
Okay.
Come on now.
I think it's a very valid
That's-
thing to say.
They hit
Johnny.
in the short. If you can't hit short receivers 5-7 yards wide open and you're missing them, you're not even looking at them. That's not about a short week, guys.
Well,
Come on now.
It was also a short week for Jake Elliott. Here's Nick Sirianni talking about the kicker struggles yesterday.
You can really build connections through tough times, right? And so obviously he was going through a tough time, but this team believes so much in Jake Elliott, because of his track record and who he is and the teammate he is, the captain he is, and just wanted to let him know that we all believed in him and can't wait for him to get his opportunity to go out and do it again.
Tweets like this from the Mattman31 this morning.
Mattman.
They need to stop. Only question I have, when are they cutting number 4?
Oh, jeez, will you stop
Like,
it?
guys, come on.
All right, can I give you the info?
Yes, give me a little nugget.
A very well-placed source again within the Eagles administration. I saw at halftime. And I said, Jake Elliott. And I made like the cringe face. And I said, any chance there's an injury? Nope. I said, any chance that that's the reason? Because I saw people going, this is why Nick Sirianni's been so aggressive. No, that's not. They have no concerns. They had no concerns going into the game last night about Jake Elliott. And this person said to me, I doubt there'll be concerns tomorrow morning either, except a really bad night.
Okay. I like hearing that.
But nothing as far as this is why Nick Sirianni had to. No, they believe in their kicker.
Here's Nick Sirianni after the game talking about the defense.
I think our guys did a nice job going against them. I think it started up front. We were able to get some pressure on the quarterback and force some scrambles, and we did a good job plastering on some of those scrambles. But just good team defense, and a lot of credit to Q, a lot of credit to Slay, a lot of credit to the underneath coverage that was helping them go other places with the football. Or, it just takes, again, being on good team defense takes being on the same page, playing with great effort to the football, which I saw a lot in this game, and then just tackling well.
Effort to the football is something it just sounds like a buzz term, but it's real. I mean, you see, again, that 4th down stop, 4 different guys made an impact out of 11 players on that field. How many times have you seen a guy give up on a play?
They're playing for each other.
Yeah, they really are.
It's wild.
That's why I celebrate the celebration after an interception. Like, guys celebrate all the time when they make a big play, but when the whole team gets together, it just tells you there's a unity right now inside that locker room.
And that's a beautiful thing. You just look at it and you say, man, this is a good time to be an Eagles fan.
Yep, absolutely. All right, last thing for you before we get to our man Andrew DeCecco. And again, don't forget, 8 o'clock hour today, Know the Show for a chance to win Flyers tickets for next Wednesday's game. I'll tell you more about that in a minute.
With a Mishkov.
That was beautiful last night. Here's Nick Sirianni. Maybe we could scrap this one from the playbook, talking about the trick play.
The trick play, what was the thinking there?
Yeah, we're trying to get a big play.
It's just what went into preparation for those?
A lot of preparation goes into trick plays. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. But a lot of preparation goes into it. They got us on that one.
I'm not anti-trick play.
You're not.
I'm anti that play. Correct.
How about trick play at that? Connor, you tweeted something, I think, at that point. I just think at the time, it was a stupid. You had just converted.
They hadn't been getting much offensively going. Yeah, they got cute.
I still thought, again, you're trying to be cute.
And it was a 14-yard sack. And Hurts got hit hard on that play.
Oh, he did.
He can I be honest with you guys?
What?
Very surprised he passed concussion protocol.
Yeah.
When
Really?
that hit the play in the end zone where he had the 2 open receivers, he didn't get the ball out, and then he got smashed by 2 Commanders players, and his face went right. You may not have seen it, dude.
No, well, people were pointing to the one that was more in the middle of the field.
And then later on,
I didn't think that one looked,
same drive. Do you got to look at it. His face.
I didn't think the one at sort of like in the middle of the field looked that egregious.
No, the one by the end zone. The ground went past his face mask. Like, that's how buried his face was into the dirt. I am shocked that he passed concussion protocol.
Well, the check is just Jaylen. Are you good? And he goes, keep the main thing the main thing.
Yeah,
he's
and that
ready to
works.
go.
And then they know that he's good.
He's ready to go.
I had a
Classic Hurts.
I had a sick-minded thought last night, John.
What was that?
That Nick Saban probably taught his guys how to pass concussion protocol.
I will tell you this. I worked with a guy, Brian Finneran, longtime NFL receiver, who told me that is common practice.
Wow!
Common practice.
I honestly had no idea.
They would purposely tank their, so that way the baseline test, they would tank it. And that was common practice.
Wow.
Not saying B. Finn did, but it was common practice. And I know that Brian Urlacher has spoken on the record about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got blamed for that in college, but then they figured out I'm just dumb.
Well,
Oh,
we wondered about that with you, too.
All right, let's head to the Comcast Business Hotline. Every day in business is a big day. Let Comcast Business help you move forward with what's next. I've been talking to this man all week, it feels like. I talked to him Monday after the Cowboys game. We talked to him yesterday for the hour leading up to the game. I talked to him during pregame.
Right,
you had a dinner date with him?
I did have a dinner date with him.
That's what I'm complaining about. I didn't have a dinner date with him. Where's my time?
Well, the dinner, there's no carving station or anything. So
that's a big loss for you. Andrew DeCecco joins us. Andrew, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning, guys. I'm doing great. How are you?
Great. First thing, as always, have the floor. Some analysis that first comes to your mind from yesterday's game between the Birds and the Commanders.
Yeah, obviously it was a much slower offensive showing than we were expecting, but I thought the defense did a tremendous job early in that game to really keep the Eagles in that game. Kobe Dean, Zack Bon, Jaylen Carter was a complete force in that game, played all 66 defensive snaps, which is incredible to think because he was disruptive on every play. But, I mean, Jaylen did not start out sharp. There was the 2 missed field goals and the missed extra point from Jake Elliott. But that didn't really the Eagles never wavered. They stayed in that game. Grant Calcaterra makes a huge play at the end to fall on that fumble in the fourth quarter where Dallas Goedert got a little careless with the football. But overall, guys, I just think that this sort of epitomizes what you've seen from the Philadelphia Eagles over the last 3-4 weeks, where it may not always look great. They may get off to a slow start, but that doesn't necessarily allow things to snowball. They're able to work through those challenges, and the common theme has been the defense being able to carry the offense through, where we thought it was going to be the other way around going into the season.
I'm a believer that we are seeing the emergence of so many things about this team. But priority it for us. Give us a priority list. What are you now fully convinced you believe in about what you've seen in the Eagles in this 6-game winning streak?
Well, I've always believed that the defense was for real, but I think now for anyone who needed another test before they were fully bought in or sold on it, I think last night was all that you needed to see. The Kobe Dean, Zack Bon, you heard Jaylen Hurts. He was effusive in his praise for Zack Bon stepping up as that leader. Jaylen Carter, you see the back end. Quinyon Mitchell pretty much erased Terry McLaurin that whole game. Terry McLaurin only had 2 targets, 1 catch for 10 yards. So that's something that you have to believe in. And on the offensive side, guys, their identity is now running the football. If that was ever a question, I think you saw yesterday Saquon Barkley, 26 carries, over 140 yards rushing. That, to me, is they're leaning on their offensive line. They're allowing Saquon Barkley to do the rest. So they sort of found their identity on both sides.
You know what's nice, Andrew? Normally we debate the decisions made by the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's talk about the decision made by Dan Quinn late in the game yesterday, going for it on 4th down deep in Eagles territory.
Yeah, I talked to John. He's sitting right beside me. I said, they got to take the points there. I mean, that was curious, especially when they're a team that they didn't look particularly sharp in the second half. They got down the field. You got the sense the Eagles were waking up a little bit offensively. I think if you're the Commanders, they got a little too cute there. You have to take the points. And when they didn't do that, that's where, to me, it felt like the momentum shifted for the Eagles. And really, the dam broke at the end of the game because they were only able to keep the Eagles at bay for so long, and then Saquon Barkley really took over.
I know that the team has had the real slow starts. Did you see something that Washington did last night to cause the Eagles to once again sort of sleepwalk offensively through the first quarter, 2 quarters of that game?
Well, I thought Frankie Louvu, their linebacker, was he was playing like a man possessed. He had 2 sacks. He was all over the field. It was almost like he was mirroring Jaylen Hurts. But other than that, not too much on what Washington was doing, but the execution piece as far as what the Eagles were not doing. And that's sort of been a common thread the past couple of weeks to start. I don't think they've been particularly sharp, but eventually you started to see they stuck with the run, they committed to it, and that's something that in past years, if it's not working early on, the team goes away from it. Eventually, I mean, you said it, John, that eventually Saquon was going to have that big run.
We kept looking for it, and then they all started to happen. We kept talking about it.
So I think a lot of times it's easy to, when things aren't going well, you try to go take to the air and get pass happy and get away from some of the things that have made you so successful. But the Eagles didn't do that. It wasn't so much what the Commanders were doing; it was what the offense was lacking.
Fine. Flip side. What about the Eagles' defense against Jaden Daniels, who a lot of people have been talking about being such a great quarterback, and he is? But they slowed them down yesterday. So talk about the Eagles' defensive performance. What did they do against that Commanders offense?
Yeah, they sacked him 3 times. He didn't even throw for 200 yards. And to me, Andrew, they took away his one weapon, which was Terry McLaurin. Zach Ertz, yeah, he had 7 targets, but he wasn't really a factor. They really made it so Jaden Daniels had to rely on checkdowns to running backs, whether it be Austin Eckler, Brian Robinson, tight ends like Zach Ertz or Bates. They weren't allowing him to really push the ball down the field. They had, and Nakobe Dean actually said this last night, they didn't even spy. They didn't even spy him. And that was, I just think that he had to be aware of where they were coming from at all times. And he didn't look like a confident quarterback out there. It looked like what Vic Fangio was doing. They were showing him looks that he hadn't seen before, and he was a little hesitant holding on to the football a lot longer than we've seen throughout the season. And the Eagles just they established that physicality early on. Look at that third down stop where Nakobe Dean stops Jaden Daniels on a run where he plays patient and really executes his assignment in space where that's where he's been most susceptible. But I think right there, that's kind of where they set the tone, and it didn't look like Jaden Daniels was ready for those bright lights.
The win. Talk about it in the grand scheme. Does it really set up Detroit and the Birds, and that's really all we have to concentrate on? Or are you still concerned that this division could be in play?
Well, it's certainly not over, John. I mean, the Washington Commanders have a pretty easy slate of games. But the way that things are sort of shaping out right now, the Eagles are clearly the better team over the Commanders. And I think that's going to really reveal itself over the next handful of weeks. They have the Baltimore Rams next week. They have the Baltimore Ravens after that. And the Eagles are going to continue to check off boxes. This is a team that knows how to work through adversity, and they're really starting to hit their stride at the right time. They're not even playing their best football. And I think that, yes, when you look at the NFC as a whole, it's the Eagles and the Lions that are going to, I believe, are going to see each other at the end of the season. And we'll have to see where the chips fall, but I do believe that the Eagles are better equipped to come out of that NFC and be that representative because I think they have a more well-rounded team. And unlike the Lions, I think the Eagles are starting to hit their stride at the right time.
How did Jaylen Hurts play yesterday?
Not great. He wasn't asked to do a whole lot. He only completed 18 passes for 221 yards. But later in the game, I thought that he made throws that were necessary to put the offense in position, Andrew. But that's something that even early in the Dallas game, he didn't look overly sharp. He took a couple of nasty hits. I heard you guys talking about that earlier. His head hit off the turf there. But I didn't think he was particularly sharp. But he seemed to get better as the game goes on. And one of the things that impressed me most about Jaylen Hurts, and really, and when you look at that quarterback position as a whole, sometimes it's really mental. When things don't go your way, it's very easy to let that really be the ultimate indicator of the game and let things snowball. But he doesn't do that. He has a really short memory, and he puts it all behind him, and he does really whatever it takes to win, and that was handing the ball off to Saquon.
I would just say to you now, what do you do? You're going out to L.A.
Yeah.
What do you do this weekend if you're Nick Sirianni? Tell everybody to just get the hell out of the building after today? Just check in and then get a few days off like a mini bye?
That's interesting. If I'm Nick Sirianni, I'm probably telling them to get the necessary rehab that they need and try to get out of that building because they had a really compressed schedule. Just relax a little bit, try and heal up, and then hit the ground running early in the week and get ready for a Rams game that's not going to be easy. They have to, anytime you fly out to the West Coast, you have to prepare yourself, not only physically but mentally as well.
You'll be out there, too.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it a lot. Great stadium. SoFi Stadium is the coolest one that I've traveled to, and I look forward to covering that game. It's an 8:20 game.
Yeah, it's an 8:20 game, so I can't wait till you call us the day after the game. It'll be nice. It'll be nice and early.
Yeah, that's right. Nice and early. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
5:10 in the morning. Yeah, it'll be good.
Now, Andrew, I know you're also looking forward to a weekend free. Enjoy yourself, brother. Watch college football Saturday, NFL slate Sunday, which is a great one. Great games in the 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 8 o'clock slates. You enjoy yourself, man. We appreciate it as always, and we'll talk to you next week.
See you, buddy.
You too, guys. Enjoy it.
There he is, Andrew to check on the Comcast Business Hotline, where every day of business is a big day. Let Comcast Business help you move forward with what's next.
Now, last night we were right next to each other. It's like seat roulette. You never know where it's gonna.
Yeah, you never know, man. Oh, that's right.
You don't know where it's gonna be. So we were right next to each other last night.
You guys don't know about the game of seats. Instead of the Game of Thrones, it's the game of seats inside in the Eagles press box, man. It's crazy. All right, coming up next, I just tweeted this out. What I believe was the top 5 biggest moments from last night. I want to run them by you and see what you guys have to say about them. And then, you touched on it earlier, John. A guy that needs to get credit today because he's gotten more heat than credit this year.
He has.
We talk about Howie Roseman coming up next on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
A victory Friday here in Philly. I'm Connor Thomas, and this update's brought to you by Groundworks. If your basement or crawl space smells musty or has watermarks on the block walls, you need to get a free home inspection from the experts. Go to groundworks.com. We've got a victory Friday here in Philly as the Eagles took down the Commanders 26-18 last night. The defense, a huge part of the win. Saquon Barkley, a huge part of the offensive performance. I mean, this is only the second time the Commanders have been held to 18 points this season. No teams held them for less. Barkley went for 146 yards and 2 touchdowns, to lead a fourth quarter charge that was the difference in the game for the Birds. And Nick Sirianni talked about the huge win afterwards.
Yeah, it was a good win. Anytime you can get a win in this league, it's huge, and it's a good opponent. Again, so much respect for Coach Quinn. He's done an unbelievable job. So we knew we had to be on it today, and so we played a good opponent on a short week, and it was big to get a win.
The Eagles now sit at 8-2. They're tops in the NFC East, leading the division 2 games ahead of Washington in the loss column. They'll have a long week to prepare for a trip to Los Angeles to face the Rams next Sunday night. It's not just a victory, or Friday, I should say, for the Eagles. The Flyers took down the Senators 5-4 in OT last night. Matvei Michkov, the game winner. The Sixers will take on the Magic down in Orlando tonight at 7 p.m. You can hear that game live here on The Fanatic. This update's also brought to you by Topgolf. From Topgolf, Sonic the Hedgehog and friends arrived at Topgolf at supersonic speed today with the launch of the new Topgolf game, Sonic the Hedgehog, now exclusively available for play at Topgolf venues across the U.S. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the 76ers and Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Now
Friday morning, Philadelphia. I'm Andrew Salciunas with John Kincade. And, of course, Connor Thomas producing the show. We are just having an absolute ball today. And I hope you're having a safe driving to work today. I forgot to mention it at 8 o'clock. I guarantee you 20% of people that are Eagles fans took off from work today.
I would think
or work from home.
Or calling sick.
20 to 30% are either out or working from home.
I think
today.
that could work too. And the work from home scam is a great one.
And Eagles fans, not like people that live in the area that they say go Birds, but like legitimate Eagles fans. Like I saw guys. So we do the pregame show. I saw guys that were whacked
before the game.
Yeah, dude.
I swear to you. And look, I'm all for everybody having a good time. There's nothing worse than me when I get to my seat. If I'm sitting in the stands and everything, I'm not talking about the press box. I get to my seat and there's some guy who is just blotto.
Yeah, you don't
when
want
they
that.
walk in the building.
Yeah,
that guy. There are people last night too with Jake Elliott stuff on Twitter that should be embarrassed themselves.
Oh, of course.
Going to the guy's Twitter feed.
Yeah,
it's Jake freaking Elliott.
It's
Are you just a? Seriously? Are you a jagoff?
Parlays, man. Parlays and bets.
People are incredible, and man, it's unbelievable.
I'll just make the kick next time, and you won't hear it from the people.
It's just
that's coming.
Yeah, and every one
we're getting that on YouTube or something right now.
Every one of them, it seems like the faceless.
Oh yeah,
the faceless. I can't put my name to it. Couldn't get lucky in a women's prison with a fistful of pardons. Every one of them, I could just imagine what they look like.
Good morning to you too.
Wow. Also, I saw
you're an absolute loser. You're going on Twitter with your faceless account and you're doing that. You're such a loser.
Also, I saw a lot of people try to make field goals at FanFest.
Yeah, not great.
I've seen some of you guys kick.
Yeah, not great. All right, before we give Howie Roseman his love,
okay,
what do you think about this? I just tweeted this out. 5 biggest moments from last night, and I didn't not like Saquon's touchdown, just like other moments. I go number 1, the 4th down stop.
I think that's right there. Give me your others.
Calcaterra's fumble recovery.
Okay, that was huge. Yeah,
I have that at number 2.
I definitely put that behind the 4th down stop.
I have the Hurts 3rd and 7 run. This was after the missed.
What a brilliant
not face mask, but like the under the helmet call.
I thought hands inside anything was a
It
call.
is.
Yes, it is.
You don't have to grab the
I don't know
face
if it's
mask,
face
right?
mask or if
Okay.
it's some
It would
sort
be
of
face mask,
Is it
though.
face mask? Okay.
All right. Okay.
And if he doesn't get that first down,
if he doesn't get that right, exactly.
And they spotted him like 2 yards short because
Yes.
they're idiots.
And
the
he
referees
made it
suck, by the way.
they
Sorry,
were-
you
they
should
were
all be
horrible.
ashamed of
It was
yourself.
10-6 at the time, I think.
Yes, big play.
Okay.
Yo, boy, his interception, Reed Blanket shit.
All right.
I will not.
Our boy.
I'm not
Come
calling him the nickname, but I will call him an exciting white.
Well, exciting whites.
Ed Reed Blankenship.
They're the
not
exciting.
going that far,
They're
brother.
They're the exciting whites, which Scott's pissed at because now we can't use that. We had a billboard campaign.
Yeah.
We can't use it.
They haven't trademarked.
They stole. No, they stole it. I'm not taking it from Cooper DeJean.
We can
and Reed
Photoshop.
Blanket shit.
5th, I kind of cheated here because I said last night, but the 5th one I wrote March 13th, 2024. The Eagles have agreed to terms with Saquon Barkley.
I think that's beautiful, and I think for last night, that's awesome.
I mean, 2 touchdowns. Like if I said Saquon Barkley's first touchdown or second touchdown, yeah, but instead I'll go. They agreed to terms with Saquon Barkley.
And honestly, before the 4th quarter, Saquon had a good night. And then Saquon just literally just choked the life
Well,
out.
you said it earlier. There's something about him where later in the game it seems like he gets better.
Well, you know what? I said he's supposed to have lunch. I've just gotten confirmation of this. The Sixers have said, could we have Saquon have lunch with Joel Embiid to learn a little bit about conditioning and being able to actually, get in there and get your conditioning.
Al took a shot at the Sixers last night.
He did.
You weren't obviously watching.
I saw people on Twitter.
He said, because Jaden Daniels does this weird basketball routine before the games, whatever.
Yes.
You do you, brother. And
I like Jaden Daniels.
And Jaden Daniels apparently brags about he's the best basketball player on the team. So Al goes, well, maybe he should go to the Sixers next door because, they're 2-8 on the season.
2-9.
2-9 on the season.
But who's counting?
Yeah, who's counting? All right. Howie Roseman deserves some love today. He's gotten actually a lot of criticism this year because early on there was heat with some of the younger defensive players, not Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, but if you remember, there were like 6 morons calling Jaylen Carter a bust at the beginning of the season.
What about Nolan Smith?
Nolan Smith, Jordan Davis, Nakobe Dean. This is all on Howie. This is all on Howie. This is all on Howie.
Yep.
look, Howie Roseman deserves credit for how this team's playing. He deserves credit for the Saquon Barkley signing. And I know the Jahan Dotson thing is still a little bit of a blemish right now in terms of this year and the talent that he has acquired. That was a big drop, by the way, that Dotson had yesterday on third down.
That was huge. And
that ball's got to be caught.
And they targeted him 2 times in the same drive.
Yeah.
And I believe it's the first time he was targeted twice in a drive.
And it was a great play, the first play of the game to get things going. But then that drop on third down was huge.
Yep.
But Howie Roseman deserves a lot of credit, man. I mean, he gets still a lot of heat in this town. I don't think anybody's fully comfortable with Howie, like ever.
No.
But when you rip him the first couple of weeks of the season because you think everybody stinks, and now they're on the 6-game winning streak and it seems like they're balling out, it's time to give the guy credit.
I'm happy to take responsibility for all of that.
I'm sure that he is.
After the press conference last year, I'm going to tell you, I thought that Howie's performance in the end of season press conference, and I tend to be a Howie truther.
Yes,
his performance in that press conference, I crushed him for it. I thought it was terrible. Like, absolutely, it seemed like he was unprepared or just unrealistic about what his fan base was thinking.
Right. Because he did the whole, well, if you take away the 6 losses.
Yeah.
You can't take away the 6 losses.
But what he has showed is that his off-season plan was truly near perfection.
Mm-hmm.
Preseason, as far as the draft, free agency, he had a brilliant off-season. And Howie's done this routine a few times in his career where things start to go off the rails a little bit, and then he comes in and saves it.
Yeah.
With this offseason may be his greatest ever. I thought 2017, the season leading up to the Super Bowl, was spectacular. But with this one being with the draft.
Yeah, the draft is
being
a big
so
deal.
great. And the draftees, to have 2 guys come in and play immediately and play at Pro Bowl levels is obscene.
But 17 was like you bring in like 12 guys that are major players on a Super Bowl.
No, I got you,
team.
but
we got a ways to go.
But you bought them.
Still.
You didn't identify them. You bought them.
Look, replacing Jason Kelce and Fletcher Cox with Cam Jurgens and Jaylen Carter is a gold star within itself.
Mm-hmm.
But now having, for the first time in our lives, at least mine and Connor's, 2 young corners, in the last 20 years.
In our adult life.
In our adult lives, 2 young corners. I had Tim McManus on yesterday. We had him on during the pregame show. And Tim's been on the beat since 2010. And I was like, dude, how different is this? Having young corners, a young secondary play well. He goes, I've never seen it. He's been on the beat for 14 years. And we've never seen it, but it's amazing. Like a guy covering the team, he was almost at a loss for words when I asked him the question.
Yes.
Because there wasn't really much to say. It's like, no, we haven't seen it, dude. Like, we're finally seeing it.
I just love last year, I went and thought at the end of the year that the window of opportunity for this franchise was actually closing. Not closing shut, but it was getting much more narrow. I'm going to tell you it's as wide open as it's ever been.
Damn right it is.
Right now,
and you locked
great.
up a lot. AJ's locked up. Devontae's locked up. Your core players are locked up. Let's go to our man Michael and Yardley. What up, Mike?
What's up? It's a happy Friday morning, guys.
Damn right it is, dude.
That Kellen Moore and Sirianni are leaning into this team's strength. I'm happy that our young corners and our linebackers are playing at a ridiculous level. I'm happy that our offensive line gets the run block and that we have Saquon Barkley. I'm not happy with quarterback play, though, at least not in the first half. And I'm leaning towards John's point. Jaylen Hurts, I love him. I'm a Jaylen Hurts defender. He is great. He's a top 5 quarterback in my book. Streaky player I've ever seen.
Yeah, he's
he can
streaky.
Complete the intermediate 30-yard passes. He could throw downfield on a dime. We're in 3rd and short. We have wide open Smitty going on the crossing route. We have A.J. Brown wide open. The defender fell down.
Yeah.
And we can't get the ball to them.
And that play there concerned me, Mike, because remember, if you were A.J. Brown started to cut up field, I think that was a bit miscommunication between Hurts and A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown goes, all right, let's go for the big play. Sure. But it wasn't the miscommunication that bothered me. What bothered me was Hurts was on one foot fading away from nobody.
Like
there was no reason
There
for
was
that.
no pressure coming, and he's fading away. And then, look, the throw was going to be incomplete probably either way because A.J. Brown was trying to cut up field at that point. But my concern is why are you fading away from nobody?
And you saw that with multiple throws in the first half, but then in the second half, you see his feet settled. You see him leaning into throws, and I'm like, what's the difference? Why is this guy such a second-half gamer and a first-half lamer?
And step into the pocket. Like he has the best pocket in the NFL. He has the most time to throw. If anybody should be comfortable,
and thanks for the call,
him.
Mike.
Thank you, Mikey. If anybody should be comfortable in a pocket in the NFL, it's Jaylen Hurts. He has the best one.
Yeah.
Over and over.
It was a bad first half. Again, big boy pants, big girl pants, but also logic hat. He doesn't stink. That's the logic hat. But the big boy pants, big girl pants is, hey, he did not play well yesterday in the first half of that game, and it is totally fair to point that out.
I can't believe we even have to do that preface with this.
Well,
it's so ridiculous.
That's where we're at. All right, coming up next, if you missed it earlier, our man Brendan Gunn put together an incredible montage from last night's game. You're going to hear that again next. We'll take some of your texts and calls as well at 610-632-0975 on a Victory Friday morning. Man, this is a great way to start the freaking weekend, guys. It is Kincade and Salciunas right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Friday morning. If you're just waking up after a late night, good morning. Because I'm sure a lot of people are.
Lucky you. Lucky you.
The alarm went off at 4 a.m. Actually, no, I changed it to 4:20. I gave myself 20 extra minutes.
Well, 4:20, I'm figured
bro.
you always woke up at 4:20.
Oh, guys, it's my favorite section at Citizens Bank Park. It's the time of my alarm. I woke up before my alarm today.
Did you?
Yes. I can't sleep. I have sleeping issues, dude. It's a problem.
Yeah, it's
that's because it's called guilty conscience.
No, they kept sleeping.
Be careful.
Did they? Sleep. Yeah,
could be a guilty conscience.
Nah, there's no.
Well, yeah,
better not
it's
have a
not
guilty
giving Reed
conscience.
Blankenship the credit he deserves.
I gave him credit, man.
No,
Those
you
are great.
didn't.
It's in my top 5 moments from last night.
Should be number 1.
All right, speaking of all the moments, our man Brendan Gunn did a great job. First one in, last one out here at 97.5 The Fanatic. He put together a great montage from last night's win over the Commanders. Take a listen, courtesy of Amazon in the Thursday night broadcast with Al and Herbie.
First place in the NFC East on the line tonight as the Philadelphia Eagles take the field at Lincoln Financial Field as the Eagles get their first look at the rookie sensation Jayden Daniels and the Washington Commanders on Thursday Night Football. Go empty here on a 2nd and 14. Daniels under pressure again. Swung down to the 29-yard line. Josh Sweat. 21-yard attempt. Well, if he misses this one, you'll hear a serenade like no other. But he doesn't. 3rd and 6. Extra pressure. A little dump off is caught. Big gain here. Into the secondary goes Saquon Barkley all the way down the 21-yard line. It's a little lollipop pass. Got away from Percy Butler. The turn would have been a short gain into a very long one, 43 yards. 31-yard attempt for Elliott. 1 for 3 tonight. 2 for 4 tonight now. Washington 10. Philadelphia 6. 3rd and 5. Look out. Down he goes. 34-yard line. Nolan Smith. Another one of those Georgia Bulldogs gets the sack. Everybody knows what's coming. Hurts. Can he get in? He is. Touchdown. Elliott to the point after. And, oh boy, I'm telling you, no! And the serenade begins. 12-10. Eagles. Oh boy, juggled it. Lucky he came away with it, and then he gets slammed out of bounds short of the first down. At first it looked like he was going to fumble it. On hits him, Daniels, and look at that. Lucky even got it.
I call Zack Bon the tone setter in that group, but Zack Bon, how he's been able to come here, be a part of this team, take leadership in his role. His actions do a lot of talking for him.
That's the thing. Finally has a ton of time and wide open. Catch is made. Goddard loses the ball, but the Eagles are there to recover it. Knocked out by Quan Martin, and Goddard lost the ball, and then Grant Calcaterra saves the day. Does he ever? The ball is on the ground, and a first down, and a ton more. Barkley, touchdown. Meanwhile, the icing on the cake for Barkley, he now has 100 yards tonight.
Obviously, Saquon's going to get all the credit for that, but you can't be great without the greatness of others. And Saquon was great tonight, but that offensive line was really good.
Daniels fires over the middle, and is Reed Blankenship, who for the moment has awarded the interception. And they're going to go celebrate. Down by 9 now in the battle for first place. Barkley! Does he have another one? Yes, he does. Touchdown. 39 yards for the touchdown. And a knee here. They'll kneel it down. And essentially calling a timeout here when they could. They'll let the clock run down. And the Philadelphia Eagles have now made it 6 in a row after starting 2-2. Washington loses back-to-back for the first time this year. It's a game-and-a-half lead now in the NFC East.
That feels amazing. It feels amazing. Last year it was, tough for me mentally. Did a really good job of.
I'm gonna stop you for a second. I'm gonna let the crowd take this one. You guys listen at home. They are saying thank you, Giants.
Absolutely. Thank you, Giants, and thank you, Brendan Gunn, for putting that together. That was spectacular. So coming up next, 9 o'clock hour is ahead. We reset the show to start the hour as we do every single day. But also, I want to revisit something. So if you remember, Eric Edholm was his name, correct?
Eric Edholm.
He was the writer for the NFL.com Power Rankings. He does the little blurbs. And he talked about how it was foolish to do something when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles. We will read that blurb and see how we're feeling now. It is Kincade and Salciunas on a Victory Friday morning. Boy, does that feel good to say right here, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Eagles atop the NFC East. I'm Connor Thomas, and this update is brought to you by Bet Parks. Join Seth Joyner and D Gunn for the Bet Parks pre- and post-game shows live at Parks Casino. For every Birds game, must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. The Eagles held on to the top spot in the NFC East with their victory over the Commanders last night. A 26-18 win that probably felt a little bit tighter for most of the game than that final score would indicate, but ultimately a stellar performance by the defense and by Saquon Barkley were the difference in the game. So the defense held the Commanders to only 18 points. That's the second time this season that they've been held below 20. And a big late interception by Reed Blankenship and a fourth down stop in a key spot. Well, the defense was a huge calling card for the Birds in this one. Saquon Barkley, 2 touchdowns on the ground, 146 yards. He's over 1,000 for the year. Just more of what you expect from number 26. Nick Sirianni talked after the game about the win.
Yeah, it was a good win. Anytime you can get a win in this league, it's huge, and it's a good opponent. Again, so much respect for Coach Quinn. He's done an unbelievable job. So we knew we had to be on it today, and so they played a good opponent on a short week, and it was big to get a win.
Eagles are now 8-2, and they have a long rest before they head to L.A. to take on the Rams next Sunday night. The Flyers took down the Senators 5-4 in OT last night. Matvei Michkov with the game winner. The Sixers will take on the Magic down in Orlando tonight at 7. You can hear that game live on The Fanatic. This update's also brought to you by the New Jersey Division of Highway Traffic Safety. Did you know that driving under the influence of marijuana is illegal? Drive high, get a DUI. A message from the New Jersey Division of Highway Traffic Safety. I'm Connor Thomas for 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now is the time to become a Fanatic MVP.
Friday morning here on 97.5 The Fanatic. I hope we can get it. Connor just told me in my ear that there is great audio from Good Morning Football that you would love to hear. We have it.
I love it.
All right, hold on.
Kyle Brandt?
Real quick.
Who is it?
Hold on.
Oh, okay.
Hold your horses.
Okay.
Hold your horses. Let's get some of the radio stuff out of the way
okay.
here.
Get him out of the window.
Shout out to our friends at Topgolf.
Love Topgolf.
So they just dropped off some swag for us. They have a new game that will be dropping soon at Topgolf, the Sonic the Hedgehog. It starts today?
Yeah.
So if you remember, last time we talked about our friends at Topgolf, they had the big golf club that Ricky was swinging.
Sure. As if Ricky needs a bigger club to swing.
Yeah, that guy can already smash.
The guy hits it
him,
country miles, they say down south.
So they have the Sonic the Hedgehog and Friends Topgolf Supersonic Speed tomorrow.
Okay.
It's a new Topgolf game, Sonic the Hedgehog, exclusively available for play at Topgolf venues across the U.S. They're always finding ways to...
We play Angry Birds.
You play Angry Birds?
When our family goes, we play the Angry Birds game.
Okay.
And obviously the colors of the markers at Topgolf.
Okay.
And we are Topgolf members.
And by the way,
every time we go to Vegas, we play Topgolf on the Strip.
And sorry, poor advertising. It is today. This is copy from yesterday, so tomorrow means today. So check out Topgolf. It's a new game. Obviously, Topgolf is already awesome. Beers and food and golf. That's
great combo.
Pretty fun for me.
That is good.
Now, speaking of Ricky Pitalico, before we reset the entire show, and before we get into the blurb that was written on the NFL.com Power Rankings earlier this week following the Eagles win against the Cowboys leading up to this Commanders game, I told you we have great audio from Good Morning Football.
Okay.
Take a listen to what they said about Saquon Barkley.
Peter's right that the defense carried them, and then it was like they played Enter Sandman or Hell's Bells, and Saquon came in and closed this game. You know what I'm saying? It was Trevor Hoffman, it was Mariano, it was all these guys. Ricky Botalico, if you want to go Philly. Peter, Ricky Botalico. I like the Hoffman name. I don't even know who that is. If you tell me that's a real person, I believe it. But he closed this game.
Peter Schrager drops a Ricky Botalico.
That's good.
That's awesome.
Peter actually interned at the radio station that I worked at.
Okay.
He was an intern there.
But that was in the ATL. That was not in Philadelphia.
But he knows his baseball.
Okay.
And remember, Ricky Botalico, sort of a badass. Let's put it that way. Sort of a badass reputation, and that was a team that I'm sure Peter Schrager hated.
Now, there was a day where Tyrone was out, and I was filling in with the best show ever. This was before our show started in March. And I wanted to do questions for Ricky. And I kind of asked him questions. I was like, you just know yourself as a Major League Baseball player. Do you ever realize, like, holy hell, I played in Major League Baseball, right? Like, that's an incredible feat that not many people can say they've ever done. Can you imagine Ricky Botalico hearing his name mentioned with Trevor Hoffman and Mariano Rivera? That's got to be really freaking cool, man.
And imagine if they didn't break the wheels off him.
Yeah, seriously.
Imagine in today's day and age, what Ricky Pitalico, first of all, would have earned.
He'd pitch once a week.
What he would have earned.
Yeah, that's.
And the general manager would have gone, no, you can't use Ricky you can't use him for 2 innings.
No back-to-back.
You can't use him back-to-back.
And I love that Kyle Brandt rips the I don't even know who that is, which is karmically payback for Ricky ripping.
Who the hell is Ray Dunn?
Oh, that's it. So it comes back and haunts you.
We can call it even now.
Well, Ricky can say, I don't even know who that guy from Days of Our Lives is.
There you go.
That is now talking football on the NFL Network, Philip Kyriakis.
I think you're the only guy who knows.
I think you are the only guy.
He was the Real World Chicago, too, by the way. That's where he was found. Real World Chicago, Days of Our Lives, and then Jim Rome's producer.
If we ever need analysis for soaps and reality TV, I know who to turn to.
He had to write everything out for Jim Rome because Jim Rome couldn't ad-lib a fart after a baked bean dinner.
Oh, he makes a ton of money.
Yes, because he has great script writers like Kyle Brandt.
But that's really cool. Listen to Ricky Pitalico coming your way at 2 o'clock today with the best show ever. Getting a shout out nationally from Good Morning Football about
that's awesome
about Saquon Barkley.
We're proud of you, Ricky.
That's pretty freaking cool. All right, so here's what we've talked about today. Obviously, we've been reacting to yesterday's game all day today, but a couple of questions that we've thrown by way of the audience. And Connor, have the text line ready. I'd love to check these out at 610-632-0975. Are we talking NFC Championship game or not? And at this point, if you're not, I need to know why. and why you're a coward. Like, seriously, like, what are you doing at this point? Look, anything can happen. There's a chance that they don't get to the NFC Championship game. But if you're waking up this morning following that win last night, when there have been people saying, I need to see them beat a real team. Well, they beat a real team last night. Why don't you live a little, dream a little, and say, you know what? The Eagles are destined to get back to the NFC Championship game. We're not saying it's a lock that they're going to the NFC. No, we're just saying, hey, that should be your floor of expectations at this point. Honestly, if they fall short of the NFC Championship game, I'm not even saying winning. I'm not even saying hosting. I'm saying if they fall short of getting into the NFC Championship game, then it's a disappointment because they're trending toward winning the division. And if they win the division, they might have to win 2 games at home.
Yeah, I mean, is it like you win the division and then just be in the 2 seed, which you're in total control of now.
Yeah.
By 2, you have a 2-game margin. Even you're gonna trip up once, if that's fine, and other people are gonna lose behind you.
Absolutely,
you're set up. You're gonna get 2 home games. Win your first one, get a second one, and that's a path that Detroit took last year to get to the NFC title game.
Yeah, and if you're not saying it at this point, then you're just doing the whole, well, I don't want to get my hopes up because if I get my hopes up and if they don't make it, then I'm going to be disappointed. Like, don't do that.
Oh my gosh!
Like, don't do it. Like, freaking be a fan, live a little, enjoy yourself. All right. That was an enjoyable game last night, specifically second half on all across the board, but the defense all game. And that leads us to our second question, which you texted me last night, if you can let the people know.
The second question I texted you?
The defense one.
Yeah, the defense. It's bottom line. Is this a team right now we're going to say, we've seen 10 games. Are we going to say this is a team that is, if they're going to win big, and I mean win in January.
Big, yes.
They're going to be led by their defense. Or is that an overreaction? I got to tell you, I'm leaning towards the defense being what's going to lead them in January. Because, first of all, defense always gains more importance as you go along. Like, especially winning playoff games and everything like that, defense helps. And in bad weather conditions and things like that, like if you're playing in South Philly in January twice, which it could be, weather conditions can be a problem.
You know what else helps then? The ground game.
Oh, the ground game's fantastic.
Which is why I say it's a bit of an overreaction. But I totally get where you're coming from.
Well, what I'm going to say to you is, and to anybody who thinks it's an overreaction, is who's the consistent unit?
So far this year, it's been the defense.
No, it's like week after week after week after week. The defense is ready to play in the first quarter, ready to play in the third quarter, except that Cincinnati game when we even had people here in our building losing their minds. Go, this defense is terrible. They're atrocious. They're awful. And I had to say, would you please calm down, for God's sakes? And they continue to prove people like that wrong. I think the defense we can count on to be consistent. They occasionally have a bad drive. They don't have bad.
It's going to happen.
But they don't have bad quarters.
No.
They don't have bad halves. The offense does, over and over again. Over and over again. You can't point to a game where the offense didn't have a bad quarter.
Right.
Let alone the last 2 games, they've had pretty much bad halves.
I don't know. I think that Bengals game you can call pretty complete. They only reason they didn't have like a great first quarter is they weren't on the field.
Yeah, that's part of it.
They didn't have a chance. That first drive went into the second quarter.
But the point still stands.
Yeah, but I still think this offense, especially with the way they've been utilizing the ground game, and again, the Tim McManus article that came out yesterday that we reacted to, has been big for this team. Let's go to Mark and Clementon, then we'll check the text line, and then I want to reread the blurb from the power rankings earlier this week and see how we're feeling now. Let's go to Mark. What's up, Mark?
Gentlemen, a glorious day, glorious morning.
Absolutely, dude.
There you go, I love that word, too.
3.5 hours sleep never felt better, brother.
Seriously. I mean, listen, if you do not believe this team can make it to the NFC Championship game, you're a fraud of a fan. You are a fraud. Look at this team, what they've done since the 2 losses and the slow start. They've come together as a team. They're having fun. Sirianni's learned how to stay out of his own way, at least the past 2 weeks. Everything is good.
And it's just saying, I think they can get to the NFC Championship game. It's not put your money down now. They're going to the NFC Championship game.
Well, no. These guys, remember, though, Mark, I got to say, remember, Andrew and Bill, they love sitting on that big fence that they built. I have been off that. I was never on that fence. I told you from the summer, you guys have plans. January the 28th. You have plans. So just book it right 26th. You have plans that day. And I'm going to love seeing Colarulo and Andrew and Connor freeze their backsides off, hopefully, in South Philly.
Damn right, man.
It's going to be awesome, and that's all. It'll be well worth it. Well worth it.
It will be.
You're the man, Mark. We appreciate
Now,
the call.
I don't know if they're going to make those insulated yoga pants for Bill, though, that day.
Will you bring us hot chocolate? You've had this planned out for months.
Believe me, it's going to happen.
No,
you know what I'll do? I will absolutely be glad to cater you hot chocolate.
Or how about whiskey?
Well, I was about to say.
No, I'll spike the hot chocolate.
I was about to say, I'll be the Greenbeard guy. We just have to get that okayed by Scott. I'll start taking shots at like 4 in the morning like he told us yesterday.
We're going to go on the air at that time. First thing in the morning. If it's NFC title game, we're going on the air
Doing
early in the morning.
Radiothon?
We're going to tell Scott what we're doing that day.
Okay.
That might work out. I don't know if that's
Scott,
really
that's
gonna
coming from the Mano studio.
Yeah, exactly. What do we have on the text line there, Mr. Thomas?
We actually do have some people who are still concerned. And Tim from Harrisburg. Let me read the damn text. Tim from Harrisburg has a valid concern here. And
Can we play
completely
like
agree
the
with him.
Halloween theme or something?
Can we play the text?
Scaredy cats.
He says, I'm worried. Can someone please check in on Terry McLaurin? I didn't see him last night, and I heard a rumor he got locked up in Guantanamo Bay.
Okay, I appreciate that.
By the way, it's got to be Quinyanamo.
Is it Quinyanamo
His
or
name is
Guantanamo?
His name is Quinyan, so it's got to be Quinyanamo Bay, not Quintanamo.
You guys see what I
Bay.
deal with?
Come on now.
For my YouTube, you see what I deal with.
It's got to be
We're
Quinyan.
going to argue over Quintanamo or Quinyanamo or whatever you want to argue
I just read the text. Don't rope me into this.
Quinyanamo. If you're going to do the Quinyanamo thing, it's Quinyanamo. Let's just do it. I can't believe it.
Guantanamo Bay says.
No, don't do that. See what I deal with.
Yeah, dude, locked down last night.
That was awesome.
What else we got?
All right, we have a check-in from David Matt Laurel who says the Birds finally passed the eye test. Convincing win against high-caliber opponent. Haven't seen that in a while, and the defense was huge. Game on.
John, I want to run this by you. So yesterday during the pregame show, I kind of added this one to the show late. You know how I do the show sheet early on.
Absolutely.
Getting to the link yesterday, it kind of hit me that it was the first time since the Niners game where you and your daughter went last year. Obviously, It was an unfortunate ending.
Right. It was terrible.
It was the first game since that game where I think the fan base was ready to go to war. If you remember, the Eagles-Niners rivalry was heated last year.
Oh, it was heated, all right.
And they lose that game.
It was 10-1. The 10-1 Eagles taking on the 8-3 49ers.
Yep. They lose that game. Then they go to Dallas, lose that game. Then they're in Seattle, and they lose that game. They don't come home until that Giants game. At that point,
it was Christmas night.
At that point, people are like
checked out
because they lost 3 straight games all on the road, and then we know how the rest of that season transpired. Then you go to this season. There was still a lot of concern heading into this year. Obviously, the first game was in Brazil. The second game they lose in the season. I don't think people were necessarily ready to go to war with this team until about last night. So it was basically almost a calendar year since we saw Eagles fans ready to go to battle.
They were ramped up. They were excited. You could feel the energy in the parking lot. You could feel the energy in the building. The noise was there. First quarter got sucked the wind out of the room a little bit.
Yeah,
but
I'm sure it did.
It came back.
All right, so the blurb from the NFL.com Power Rank. We read this on Wednesday. We based a topic off of it yesterday. Let's revisit it. The guy, Eric Edholm, who does the blurbs, wrote the following. Given how last year unfolded when Philly went from 10-1 start to losing a road wild card game, it's a bit foolish to look too far ahead, especially with more tough remaining opponents than easy ones. How we feeling after that last night? Because, Connor, you were... I understood what the guy was writing, but I completely disagreed with it. You were kind of like, yeah, I kind of feel that way.
Yeah, I get consuming the football season like that. Every game's so important. It's hard to just project out. Like you drop a game to the Rams going coast to coast on next Sunday night, and things may feel different. I mean,
you'd be staring down the Ravens next, so you'd feel more pressure in that one.
Right. Here's the thing. I don't know that he's talking about the ceiling of the team or the quality of what we've seen from the team. I could view the Eagles as a great football team. and still look at the other teams around them and the path that they have to traverse and say, well, there's more dominoes that need to fall, and the NFL's a week-to-week league. Like, that's not a knock on the Eagles. You don't believe it's a week-to-week league?
No.
Think about some of the upsets we've seen this year, Johnny.
I got that, but the thing is, at the bottom line, sure, there are going to be upsets in every sport in every time. But the NFL is pretty wildly consistent on the good teams are the good teams. The teams you think are going to be good are the teams you think end up being good.
At the end of it all, yes.
That's what I mean, yeah. I mean, week to week, you're going to see things, but every team's got that.
Well, I'm not talking about, like, miss the playoffs, and I think that's kind of what, like, the Eagles don't stink, but I'm saying, like,
right.
you drop one game, and all of a sudden it's a difference
changes your whole
one
course
seed,
of
two
life.
seed. You're
Right.
going
I
on
get it.
Like, so I think that's more of a way you approach a season. Immediacy is the most important thing, and I think you can have that perspective while also believing the Eagles are a damn good football
Right.
team.
I just like it's when he writes the whole they have more difficult opponents coming up. I think that's what a lot of people were saying. Well, let's see them beat a real team first. Well,
there it is.
They did that last night. So are we feeling better?
You ready for this one? Because we have a text from Joe in the Northeast.
Okay.
Let's see what the team looks like against Baltimore. That will be
here
the
we
true
go.
test. I still got to see more.
So 3-loss Baltimore will be the real.
So
Stop
wait a
it.
minute.
These
Stop
people
it.
exist.
Stop it.
So what can you text back, right? You're allowed to text back?
Yes, I can text back, depending on what you want me to say.
Hey, mother. No. Ask him what he was saying leading up to yesterday's game. Like, did he did he think the Commanders were frauds going into last night? Because I know there are people like that guy, Joe in the Northeast, that probably thought, wow, this is a true test. And then the second the Eagles beat them and maybe
And it's not important.
And they looked a little fraudulent, the Commanders team.
I've already saw Bev had already tried to pull that crap
I saw
last
it. No,
night.
he did too.
Of
He
course
did
he
that
did.
too.
Of
It's
course he did.
Oh, well, it was the Commanders.
Dave Coggin had a great tweet that'll make you both smile.
Oh, I saw it.
You did see it? I think it is. He wins the internet.
Oh, guess
last
what,
night.
though? I don't even have to text him back. I just scrolled back to November 11th here
What'd
because
he
we can
say?
see the previous text. And he sends a text about against good teams. The first half they played against Dallas isn't going to cut it. And he brings up the Ravens and says, you do that against them, you're down 21. So he's been focused on the Ravens.
What did he think about the Commanders is my
Okay,
question.
well, I'll ask him.
Go ahead.
Dave Coggin, after losing a friendly wager with Jeff Lurie on the Thursday night football outcome, Commanders owner Josh Harris now has to attend a Sixers game.
Oh, man.
Dave, you won the internet last night. That's fantastic.
You see the guy riding around with the bike yesterday and his sign?
I did. Yeah, that was so awesome.
People
Yeah,
people
look,
aren't necessarily
not
happy with the hoop squad
I've said
right
it
now.
before. I do not like the fact that the Sixers owner owns the commodes.
I don't care. It doesn't bother me.
I don't like it
And
at
it
all.
never has
Because
bothered
guess
me.
what? There's always a favorite kid. And there's one kid who's going to get more attention and more of your desires and more attention. And that's going to be an NFL owner every time.
Sixers have
every time
continuously cut the check, and that's all
cutting the
I
check
care
is
about.
not the same.
He's not a basketball guy. I don't need him making decisions.
Not the same.
All right, coming up next, we'll do our pick segment. I gotta think of some picks. We'll do our pick segment coming up next. Also, I just saw a great got him moment on Twitter. It is Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
A big win for the Birds. I'm Connor Thomas. This update is brought to you by Bradford White Water Heaters. When you need a new water heater, choose one that's built to be the best. Choose Bradford White. The Eagles with a huge win last night in division against the Commanders on a short week. A lot of stuff could have potentially gone wrong. And at the start of the game, it looked like a lot of things were going to. Jake Elliott missed 2 field goals early. The Birds were down early, and they turned it on in the second half. The defense was actually pretty darn good all night. They only allowed 18 points to the Commanders in the 26-18 win. Saquon Barkley, though, he didn't really get it going to the second half and still ends with 146 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground. Nick Sirianni talked after the big win about the game.
Yeah, it was a good win. Anytime you can get a win in this league, it's huge, and it's a good opponent. Again, so much respect for Coach Quinn. He's done an unbelievable job. So we knew we had to be on it today, and so we played a good opponent on a short week, and it was big to get a win.
The Eagles are now 8-2, atop the NFC East, 2 games better than Washington in the loss column, and they'll have a long week to prepare for their trip to L.A. to take on the Rams next Sunday night. The Flyers took down the Ottawa Senators 5-4 in OT last night. Matt Van Meechkoff with the game winner. The Sixers will take on the Magic in Orlando tonight, 7 p.m. You can hear that game live here on The Fanatic. This update's also brought to you by WorldwideStereo.com. Transform your space for football season with the ultimate home theater. Right now, get up to 36 months, no interest financing. Visit WorldwideStereo.com/wow, turning dens into super boxes since 1979. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the 76ers and Flyers. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Now is the time to become a Fanatic MVP.
Kincade Salciunas 97.5, The Fanatic.
What are you eating, Andrew?
Dude, so shout out to our friends at Topgolf. They got the new Sonic the Hedgehog game that starts today at Topgolf, the Supersonic Speed. It's the launch at the new Topgolf. You can check it out, obviously, all over the country, but also here, locally, Northeast Philly, King of Prussia, Mount Laurel. Mount Laurel, the spot that I go to.
We do King of Prussia.
TopGolf.com.
We're a King of Prussia Topgolf.
But I didn't know about this. When I've gone for golfing, beer, and, like, wings.
Debauchery.
Yeah. I didn't know they had donuts.
Yeah, the infused donuts, they're the best. They're
and
the
not
best
just
dessert.
Infused donuts, like they bake them and they're already infused. You get to infuse them yourself, which is an added bonus to having fun.
They give you the chocolate, they give you the vanilla cream, and they give you the raspberry, which is our personal favorite.
And that's why my mouth is currently salivating still.
They're
because
good.
I made the mistake of eating one literally like 10 seconds before we came back on.
Yeah, they're really good.
Good call by you.
Yeah.
No, it was a good call, though. Those things tasted amazing.
Those things are delicious. So thanks to our friends at Topgolf for stopping by with some great goodies. Check out the new Sonic the Hedgehog game at the Topgolf near you. Before we give our picks, there was a incredible gotcha moment on Twitter that just took place.
Yesterday. Like right now?
No, just now.
Oh, my gosh.
The original tweet was last night. So, do you remember Ben DiNucci?
Yes. That was the Cowboy game we won on the Sunday night during the COVID year.
He actually outplayed Wentz.
It was COVID year.
Yes.
Right? I believe that was the COVID season.
So Ben DiNucci's out of the NFL. He's, with all due respect, he made it further than any of us have on this show. He stunk. He was really not good. He's all of a sudden become Mr. Vocal on social media. And the other day, he put out a tweet saying, "Am I the only one who would rather watch college football over the NFL?" He ran a poll. Majority of people said college football. You know, all of a sudden, he's Mr. Vocal. He's got a hat company that he's, I'm guessing, trying to promote. So he puts out a tweet last night. "The tush push annoys me. It isn't football."
It isn't football, is it? Really?
Now, we have talked about the tush push and how sometimes I don't like that they seem to rely on it when you have Saquon Barkley in the backfield. But that's not the point. RNB215, who's also an Army veteran, so we appreciate you for your service.
Appreciate that.
Puts out the tweet, "Oh, it's football. You just suck at it." And he quote tweets Ben DiNucci in the XFL trying to run the tush push. And getting stopped and losing a yard.
Really?
So Ben DiNucci's just complaining about the tush push because he tried it when he played for the Seattle whatever squad in the XFL and was stopped well short of the first down mark.
Now, that is perfect work on that gentleman's part.
That is an all-time gotcha moment.
Thank you for your service to our country and for putting Ben DiNucci in his place. Seriously.
Seattle Dragons, by the way. I
sorry.
remember. I was a big XFL guy.
I got.
Were you really?
Show respect.
My Tampa Bay Vipers, RIP.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
I got a shirt.
I remember when I was told that league would work.
Oh, yeah. Remember all the wrestling heads?
Yeah.
Were the ones telling you that, oh, yeah, it's going to force the NFL to change.
Yeah.
Because we love wrestling, and it's just like wrestling.
Now, they did change.
What?
The kickoff.
Yeah, it's stupid, too.
I
guess
hate
what?
it.
It's absolutely, it takes, you know what they do? First of all, they play the thing that is from when I was in fifth grade, the Rocky stuff, to get you pumped up for the game.
Okay.
And you have all that kinetic energy in the building and everything, and then they do this new stupid kickoff, and the place is as silent.
Yeah,
it is silent. It takes all the energy right out of the building.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I agree with you. All right, let's do our pick segment. Hit it. Thank you.
First place, Andrew.
Yeah, but didn't you go 3-1 last week?
No, you're in. Well, yeah, but you're in first place.
Yeah, yes.
You are 27-13.
Correct.
At 68%. Connor and I are tied, 24-16 at 60% on the season. You still hold serve, sir. You hold serve.
It's your honor because
I went.
To go? Yeah, I went 2-2. So it's your tee box.
Oh,
it's
I
just
didn't
like,
realize.
It's just like a round of golf.
See, Connor and I play ready golf.
Yeah, just get on the box and swing it.
Connor and I are both ready golf
you
people.
know what? Some might say I'm not ready. So go for it. If I'm being honest with you guys.
Well, then that works. All right, the Minnesota Vikings are at the Tennessee Titans this weekend. Sam Darnold's struggles will continue. Sam Darnold will be under 248.5 yards passing. The Titans' defense is stout, one of the best in the league, and they're going to make Darnold look stupid. So go with that one first. How about this one? I've got a bunch from these two. Is Calvin Ridley facing Minnesota is going to be under 60.5 yards receiving.
Okay.
Because I got respect for the receiving, for the defense there of Minnesota. So Calvin Ridley has been on a little bit of a roll. He won't be under 60.5 in that one. Jordan Love faces the Bears. I don't know why the number's so high. 253.5 yards passing. Jordan Love, always loved to bet. I would love to bet interceptions with him, but he'll be under the 253.5 yards passing. And DJ Moore will finally go over 44.5 yards receiving. He's actually going to stay on the field because he's facing the Packers.
He's going to stay on the field and finish the play.
Packers-Bears games are always a little wild, and the Packers' pass defense, it's not good. He's going to get 45 yards or better, so bet the over on that one.
All right, can you repeat those picks one more time?
Sam Darnold under 248.5 yards passing. Calvin Ridley under 60.5 yards receiving. Jordan Love under 253.5 yards passing. And DJ Moore over 44.5 yards receiving.
All right, thank you, Mr. Kincade.
4 again, so there we go.
What would you guys like to guess is pick number 1?
I know what it is, and nobody else touches it because none of us are allowed to touch it.
Yeah, that's your pick.
You picked it up.
Jahmyr Gibbs over in rushing yards. They've bumped it up to 70.5.
And you're still smiling all the way to the bank.
I'm going to take it until it doesn't hit. It's been in the 50s. It's been in the 60s. They finally got it to 70.5.
Okay.
They are playing the lowly Jacksonville Jags. I expect them to be leading and relying on the ground game. So I still feel comfortable taking this bet, a bet that has hit every single week except week 1.
It's been incredible.
It's part of the reason why I have a good record. I just keep on riding with it. Bet number 2, you mentioned the Jordan Love and his numbers.
Right.
I'm going to go with the game. Too much going on with Chicago right now. I know it's a divisional matchup. Packers need a win. I take the Packers to cover the 5.5 in Chicago against the Bears.
All right.
I like a road dog. The
Who's
Chargers are playing good football this year. But the Bengals, I still believe their record does not tell the true story of who they are. I like the Bengals as a road dog plus 1.5.
Wow, that's a good. That's a tantalizing pick.
Yeah, and I will give you one more. I just think they're damn good.
Who's that?
The Ravens in Pittsburgh. A tough battle. I'm taking the Ravens to cover the 3. I know that that's a scary bet, but you know what? I'm going to be sitting on my couch. My ass will be on the sofa watching that game because the Eagles are already done, and I want to have some skin in the game. I'm going to take the Ravens to cover the 3 on the road in Pittsburgh against the Steelers.
All right.
That's all. So Gibbs over, Packers minus 5.5, Bengals plus 1.5, Ravens minus 3.
I'm going heavy favorites this week because did you know that when the favorite covers on Thursday Night Football, the favorites on the weekend hit at a much higher clip?
Where the hell you got that?
That's weird.
I just completely made it up. But anyway, we're going to go heavy favorites anyway. Give me the Ravens minus 3 at Pittsburgh.
You both are going with that, eh?
I think Pittsburgh is a solid team. I don't think they're as good as their record indicates. And Lamar Jackson has been getting asked a lot about, like, why does Pittsburgh give you so much trouble? He's got something to prove.
Okay, that's good because the numbers are staggering to not take the Ravens.
I'm sure
it's like a blowout the way that Tomlin handles the Ravens.
Never tell me the odds is a great Han Solo.
That's a good idea.
Dolphins minus 7.5 versus the Raiders. I mean, Dolphins at home. That team is starting to figure a little bit more out with Tua back, and I know he's trying to dive head first, trying to make tackles, but the Raiders stink. They're going to cover that 7.5. And the Vikings minus 6 at Tennessee. John, I'm not buying that Sam Darnold thing that you're talking about.
I think he's terrible.
I think he's all right, and I think the Vikings are significantly better than the Titans, and they're going to win that game. My prop, this is a guy that exactly what you do when a guy struggles. Jared Goff over 223.5 passing yards. They're going to want to get him that confidence back and prove that they haven't lost faith in him after the multiple interception game.
What is it, over 22?
223.5. So here's the 4 again. Ravens -3, Dolphins -7.5, Vikings -6, Jared Goff over 223.5.
By the way, it is absolutely ridiculous, and a buddy of mine in the gambling industry said for 3 guys to have made 40 picks each against the spreads and to all of us be above 60% in mid-November, he said that's pretty stout.
We're doing pretty well.
Stout.
Did he account for us being built different?
We are built different.
Let's hope that continues. Hey, by the way, my bad. It's been an Eagles game day or post victory.
Oh, Flyers.
Flyers tickets. Caller number, what's Michoff's jersey number?
39. Yes, caller 39.
All right, fine. How about caller 3, the first number of the 39?
You're terrible.
Caller number 3 to the contest line, 215-263-0975. Will win a pair of tickets to the Flyers-Canes game next Wednesday, November 20th. Get your tickets at PhiladelphiaFlyers.com. That Torts guy thinks I think he knows what he's doing, Johnny.
And I think Torts, I think he knew exactly what buttons to push with his team.
All right, the Kincade Salciunas terrible Key 3 comes your way next on a Victory Friday morning, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now is the time to become a Fanatic MVP. Go right now to 9.
9:48 on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. Coming your way at 10 o'clock, the Mike Missanelli Show with Bill Colarulo and Tom Alvord, newly married Tom Alvord.
He's here in the house.
Yeah, Ray Dunn is in Richmond for
I went to Richmond.
Temple VCU, I believe, the women's basketball matchup. So Ray out today. Tom will be filling in for him. A day after, or 2 days after Tom's wedding, he was DMing me, like...
He wasn't looking to wander from his wife, was he?
No, not yet.
Oh, okay.
He was DMing me, like, the AJ Pierzynski audio.
Oh, okay.
Hey, check this out. I'm like, aren't you married?
Don't you have things to do?
Like, you just got married. Take
Don't
care
be
of
doing that.
Take care of that first.
A lot of stuff to take care of.
All right, it's time now for the Kincade Salciunas Key 3. 3 best minutes from today's show, brought to us by Von C. Brewing.
Now, the Kincade Salciunas Key 3. Today's best.
Manager Salciunas alongside my man John Kincade. Johnny Red Bull this morning. What's up, Johnny?
Also known as the original Exciting Whites, Andrew and John.
Nobody's ever said that about
I
us.
am so excited because of football season that sets up now to be an incredible finish. You're in a beautiful platform for where you're at. A great night at the stadium. Andrew, it is a great day to be awake.
The Eagles beat the Commanders last night, 26-18. Look, the Eagles are 8-2. The Eagles have won 6 straight games following the Week 5 bye that all of us, when the schedule first came out, looked at and said, hated. Man, I wish it was later on in the season. I wish it was in November, early December, early November, whatever. But man, that bye week for this team, and we are coming to find out it's true that it may have been one of the biggest things for this team.
Saquon Barkley is appearing to get stronger as games go along, which to me doesn't make sense with the amount of carries he's had, with the amount of his career. It's really, really good. He's on pace right now. He's going to be able to set career highs in everything. The only one that it looks like he probably won't get is career highs in receiving yards.
And look, fine.
Everything else?
Whatever.
I mean, he has 8 touchdowns right now. Career highs 11, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
His career rushing high is 13-12. He's now within 190 yards of that.
What's your big picture perspective about where this team is 10 games into the season?
A big picture. Taking it one day at a time. Taking it one day at a time.
I'm glad that he has that mentality. I don't, dude. We're talking NFC Championship game now, right? Like, there's no other discussion. Like, it has to be NFC Championship game.
I made sure that the staff had cleared out the seats because I've been waiting for people to pile on. I've been telling you this.
You have been.
All summer.
We're talking NFC Championship game, if not further. Like, that has to be the conversation.
Yes,
If
nothing
you're
less.
not having that conversation, then you are either, the prototypical Negadelphian, or you have hate in your heart, or there's just something that's completely scaring you. Because that is a game that you can't come in the morning after or go to bed last night, like gripping your sheets,
clutching your pearls,
holding your pillow when you're trying to fall asleep because you're afraid of the boogeyman. I went to bed with a freaking smile on my face, and I could not wait to come in this morning on as little sleep as we get after nights like that, to come in here and talk about this team and how they do look completely different than last year. They are ascending as opposed to descending or flatlining like we saw last year. They're playing above their heads at times, especially on the defensive side of the ball. If you're not talking about a deep playoff run, I don't know what's holding you back, but Johnny, that's got to be the conversation at this point.
Zack Bon, dude, he's freaking Batman.
I'm serious.
He's Batman.
When are we going to? Obviously, we have to see the contract happen first.
Well,
when do we start seeing Bon jerseys around the city of Philadelphia?
Okay, now
I mean, there's so many great players on this team, but this dude is NFC Defensive Player of the Week last week, and he's been such a great story all year.
I believe they're already trying to approach.
I imagine that they are.
I don't know if someone's going to listen.
I told you.
I look at where this Eagles team is at 8-2, and last year they were 9-1. And I asked you the question before, and now I'll ask you again. You got another game in the bank. Do you feel better about this team at 8-2 than you did last year at 9-1?
After last night's win, yes.
Okay, so last night showed it to you because of the division.
It was the division. It was just how it looked, and we'll get into the quarterback in a little bit. But the defense was once again spectacular last night, and it goes back to what we were saying from the beginning of the season. No, none of us assumed that the defense was going to be a top 5 defense in the NFL, but we thought that they would be middle of the pack, which is literally double from what last year. They were at the bottom of the NFL last year. We thought they'd be middle of the pack because of the upside of this team, because of the youth, and there's going to be some growing pains, but there's more talent. They're quicker, they're faster, and they have a better defensive coordinator. But man, I saw what they did last night against that Commanders offense, which has been efficient this year.
It's been outstanding.
And then, of course, couple that with Saquon Barkley being a freaking maniac. Of course I feel better now than I did when you asked the question a couple weeks ago. Eagles now lead the NFC East by a game and a half over Washington and have started 8-2 or better in 3 straight seasons for the first time in franchise history. What a time to be an Eagles fan. And there's the Kincade Salciunas Key 3. What? 3 best minutes from today's show, brought to us by Von C. Brewing Company in Norristown. Check out their Key 3, the OG Pills, legendary Philly Lager, gold medal winner, Joel Embiid and the OG Pills. Oh, man.
What's available?
Gold medal winner of the 2023 World Cup of Beer, the Walking on Clouds, Von C's flagship hazy IPA, and...
Let's go to Vienna, everybody. We went to Munich, now we go to Vienna. It's a 2-time Best of Pennsylvania winner, the Vienna Lager.
Now, German John, I have to ask.
It's got all German ingredients.
I know, like, in the United States of America, there are different accents, even though we all speak English.
There are.
So you have the same accent?
I'm from Kloppenburg.
Oh, forgive me.
By the way, Kloppenburg's a real place. It's where my dad's plane was found that he got shot down in during the war.
How about
they
that?
found it in a swamp in like 2012.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
The plane disappeared. They never found it.
Dude.
And Kloppenburg, it was found in the bottom of a swamp.
About that.
So I knew Kloppenburg, Germany.
That's a great trivia question.
We're going to have a little boys outing Sunday morning. Haley, we wish we could take it, but they won't let us do a 5-some. We're going to be out at Upper Deck Golf at Citizens Bank Park. I have gotten now 3 reviews on the Upper Deck Golf at Citizens Bank Park, and it is absolutely amazing. Looking forward to it. We'll have a good little outing on Sunday morning there.
Protect that scoreboard.
Compose yourself, Salciunas.
Sorry.
Andrew's going to break something. I know
no,
he is.
100%.
We're going to have a blast, though, and we're going to have a big and we have a big weekend to watch football and to hang out and everything and listen to the film.
Tell us about
Hey, support life-saving cancer research. Join us and our generous partner, Davis CPA Group, and make a donation to the American Association for Cancer Research. You can do it at 975thefanatic.com/AACR because cancer research saves lives. You're a problem
I'm a child.
You know, you're a problem.
I'm a child. All right. I literally got tears coming out of my eyes.
You do.
I'm just so emotional about golf tomorrow. All right, everybody have a great rest of your day. The Mike Missanelli Show is coming your way next with Bill Colarulo. Ray Dunn off today. Tom Alvord is in for him. We'll be back at it Monday morning on Kincade Salciunas.
We'll still be happy.
We will be.